can't, you have to shoot it, obviously.
Right.
I'll post the link.
That's crazy.
My question for Mike is, do we believe that Mike's dog is microchipped? Yes or no?
That's a good question.
I would say yes.
No.
I say no.
I say yes. Do you believe in vaccines? I have a theory. Did you get a vaccine? Did you get a COVID?
I did get a COVID one. I didn't get any more.
That's tough now.
I got the first one yet.
Yeah, I'll have to say I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think yes, because the dog is a family dog, and his kids were growing up with the dog, and the thought of something happening to the dog and not being able to the kids, that he would do it for the kids. So
That was a good guess, and it's probably a good reason, but yes, I did. I also live in the burbs, and it's easy for him to run out of my yard, and I thought, okay, if he runs out, maybe I'll find him. So yes. I found a dog, though, that I loved, a little mini, it was like a mini golden doodle, and it was just on its own. I just found it in public, just running around. And I was like, oh man. And I was praying it didn't have a chip. And I took it to the vet and it did. And I was like, damn it. Because I totally wanted to keep it.
I have a question now for Scarlett. So when I was in Texas, there was this maker space, right? And they offer you the ability to get a chip and put into your wrist, and that's kind of like it's kind of like the equivalent to a key fob. So like when you walk up to the door, all you got to do is wave your wrist and you get in. Would Scarlett have opted in for the wrist key fob, or would she have chosen the physical one? Oh wait, it's a yes or no question. So would she have gotten the wrist chip?
I think that's a no.
Yeah, no.
To be honest, I would, though. Personally, I would.
I know you
But I
would.
think she's gonna say no.
Like,
Oh, because I did all their shit, yeah. Because I'm reckless, yeah. That part.
well, I asked because I gotta be honest. I had to be convinced to not take it because I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, if that's all it does, I guess you gotta believe that that's all it does, right? If it just opens doors, it's a mark. Will you take the mark of the beast so you can open doors even more easily? Yes or no?
are you out of your cotton picking mind? What? You're gonna inject a foreign substance into me to open a door? Give me that card. Don't touch me with that syringe. That's crazy.
What if you knew that you could upgrade it later to do other things? Like you could remote start your car with it.
Even creepier.
What if it would have an app?
Somebody's gonna like my car and
What
cut
if
off
it
my
had an app
hand to
and you
get
could
to
make it
the.
do a whole bunch of
Nope. But great question, Dima. Thank you. All right, guys. Serendipity. Do we want to do the the archetypes of women room tonight?
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. All right. So
Jezebels and Bethany's?
Yeah, I'm worried. Well, even though we started with Bethany's, if we listen to the John Johnson skit who talks about Bethany's and it's not Bethany, we always can change the title, right? So that we're not, because I did not have time to listen to the skit before now.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm.
Have you listened to it before?
Yes. And I want to support Josh Johnson, and it's
How long is the video?
I think it's 12 minutes, but I know it's not more than 20.
Okay, could
And
you do me a
I
favor?
know you worry.
Could we break it into just little few minute
Of
dialogue?
course.
Listen a little bit, have some dialogue, listen a little bit, have some dialogue,
Yeah.
as opposed to listening all the way through?
If you don't know the comedian Josh Johnson, though, you're in for a treat. He's like Mark Twain, and oh my gosh, who won the Mark Twain Award? Who got into such controversy with the trans folks because he refused to bend the knee to their ideology? Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers, Dave Chappelle, and Mark Twain had a baby.
Dude, you can't go wrong with that combination.
And that's how. And look, he's not right wing. He's not, but he is amazing. He's been at this craft for probably 10, 15 years, and he's still young. He when he was a kid, he was a latchkey kid, so he spent some time at home alone. Well, that can get you in all kinds of trouble, except he was fascinated by Craigslist ads. And the KKK put an ad out to recruit. And he contacted them. And he made a friend. And the friend wanted to meet him at the Applebee's, or I don't know what kind of restaurant. He trolled the KKK. And I just thought that was so funny. He's so clever. And so, yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to go on silent for a few minutes while I collect all my shares and stuff. And I know Serendipity, this is mainly Serendipity's brainchild with the assistance of MG. And so I'm like helping. It's not really my room. And so I don't want to overpower it with my videos and bore people. So I'm going to let Serendipity take the lead on it. And we'll see how it goes. And if after 5 minutes you guys hate Josh Johnson, we'll turn it off. The link will be available for people to see about the Karens and the Bethanies in our society.
Give me 1 second, Monica. I'm putting kids to bed.
Well, I don't mean for us to have radio silence. Like y'all carry on the conversation, please. Asking someone another question. Hikima, do you have a question for someone? Anyone? No.
Oh my god, I literally thought my phone wasn't working. I was like, what the fuck happened? Did you move my headset? What happened?
I was about to say we could have Mike sing karaoke.
Did we hear everybody's favorite karaoke song? I don't know that we
We
actually.
didn't hear all of them. No, we didn't hear a lot more. Keep going.
Alright, mine would probably be either Carrie Underwood Beats or Total Eclipse of the Heart.
I like the second one. That's an interesting one.
Right?
Yeah, I like that one. I remember that song. That was a great song.
Turn
Who sang that?
around
Who sings that? Who sings that song? I can't remember who it is.
It's not Jefferson Starship? No, that doesn't sound right.
Bonnie Taylor.
Oh, shit.
Oh shit, I would never guess that.
Tyler. Bonnie Tyler.
Was that a one-hit wonder, or did she have other stuff too? That sounds like a one-hit
I think
wonder.
she had other stuff. I think Bonnie Tyler was pretty legit.
Alright, Nye. What's your go go-to karaoke song?
Oh, that would be More Than Words. Remember that song, More Than Words?
Oh yeah, that was by
Eric Clapton?
No, it was in the '90s, early '90s. It was a
Right now. By Extreme.
Extreme, yes. Oh, that was such a good song.
It's either that or I Want It That Way by is it Backstreet Boys?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
More Than Words was 1991. What year was More Than Words? I'm guessing 91 or 90.
More Than Words. Let me see. I think I have to go to Wiki and look it up.
I think I was a sophomore or junior in high school for it. I think it's 90. I'm gonna guess 91.
Yeah, 91. You're right. Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
He must have a memory associated with that.
I do remember, I do remember.
Good luck, Brad.
In high school and what year it was, pretty much. I listened to a lot of NWA and Boyz II Men back then too.
Boyz II Men was good.
Yeah, Boyz II Men was good. Remember Luke Skywalker? He was like the first dirty rapper.
Oh,
He
yeah.
like swore. Yeah, he was like the first person ever to like be dirty in rap music. Really dirty on purpose.
Yeah. I remember 2 Live Crew. And
Yeah, Luke Skywalker, 2 Live Crew.
Yeah, controversy back in the 90s. Boy, Martin Bush wasn't playing that shit. No one was too cool.
Yeah, you're right.
And, like, we don't want this trash corrupting our youth.
Yeah, and NWA had that song Automobile. You'll be good to me, I'll be good to you, and we'll both ride home in my automobile. It was Eazy-E, I think, was the one who sang it. I love Eazy-E's voice. He was my favorite rapper back then.
Did you like Big Pun?
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Pun.
Yeah, I was never big. I grew up in Seattle on the West Coast, and it was all like grunge, pretty much there. So I never experienced like Biggie, and because he was more East Coast, I was more like West Coast rap, like Dr. Dre and his crew. But I like Biggie a lot.
That's Kurt Cobain's stomping grounds there.
Yeah, he died in '93, I think. I was in a Japanese bar when I heard about it. It was a bar that we used to hang American dollar bills from the ceiling. And I heard about it, and I remember being there hearing about it. In '93 or '94, might have been. I think it was '94.
Yeah, it was such a great fucking band. Is that Kurt Cobain? I think Dave Grohl and one of the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Chris Novoselic was the bass player. Great fucking band, man.
Back then, I was more like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the two I really liked. And Screaming Trees were another one that I used to listen to a lot.
Sig, do you know the song Street Law by Pastor Troy?
I do not. Yeah, I'm not really into the down south.
Do you know that one, Mike?
No, I don't. Never heard of it.
Shit, nobody, does anyone know that one? Street Law? Pastor Troy? I'm living by the street law. Fuck them judges. I live it. You don't know that one?
Was it a rap song from the South?
Let's hear some more, Ollie. Let's hear some more. I jog my memory.
Hey, look at the lyrics.
Yo, somebody get Ollie a contract, man.
Let's see lyrics. Here, I'll give you a little tape.
I can see Holly in her car by herself right now.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's what good
Hand on the steering wheel, fucking
Yes.
seat all the way back. Hell yeah.
Dude, I was singing a lot of this by myself. It's Southside St.
Okay, guys.
Ridiculous.
If I open the room, you guys kind of need to come to the room.
Monica, Hollywood speaking, Monica.
Hold on. Like, I am doing this room for
We're supposed to move
serendipity.
to a different room? What are you talking about?
Right. I'm like in the hallway twiddling my thumbs with the chill music
No, you gotta play
on.
it here. Why are you playing it here?
Because it's a replay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Monica loves her replays.
You wanna move? This is a big old room right now.
I don't believe in moving.
You will if I boom the room.
That's a
Monica, what are you doing, Monica?
Oh, that's mean.
You're wild out today. Okay, but before we boom the room, I want to answer the question. In my vagina, I look for money. I prefer wealthy vaginas. Okay, we can boom the room.
Good send off.
Whoever said intellect is full of shit.
So now it's going to take me a few more minutes because I left the room that I was sitting alone in.
I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't see the links.
I texted you and I put it in the back channel. And I was like,
Oh, you did?
we all right. So take two. I'm sorry. Like, I know we talked about doing it in the public sphere to get more people, but we totally can do it here. I just need to, and that way, what, seriously, what do you envision? Y'all are letting me have the replay. So we can do it in the Muff and have a Muff original replay here. Or we could do it in the wilds of Clubhouse in the public spaces.
Let's do it in the wilds of Clubhouse and the public spaces.
Okay. All right. It is 7:09. If the conversation gets super good in here by 7:12, y'all please remind my friend I'm alone in the hallway.
I told you I was getting kids in there.
I know, and I felt bad, so then I was like, well, let me put it in the back channel, because where, people would see it, and still nobody, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
The tongue music, and
And then Holly started rapping.
yeah, Holly was rapping like.
Holly has a great voice.
Can't believe when Holly raps.
Yeah, I was about to say, I vote to get about 4 more verses than Pastor Troy song from Holly. I was thoroughly entertained.
Well, I've actually been trying to find the lyrics, and I cannot find the lyrics. All I know is, we live in by the street law, fuck them judges. I'm trying to find the lyrics but I was going to tell Kikiva, I was driving, and I was, just jamming to that song, rapping along and stuff, and this group of, black dudes next to me at a stoplight was staring at me, and they
He was like,
laughing.
what's that movie Office Space where you roll up the window, you bring your seat back up and you roll up your window and act normal?
Just picture me, listening to hardcore street rap with, a giant smile on my face. I'm, the happiest person ever. I'm the most cheerful dog rapper you'll ever meet.
Oh, y'all, she's thug.
I'm a thug.
She's fat pimpin' with a BLT.
I'm dead.
This has to be the least urban room of all.
Nah, Holly done urban it out, man. Actually, I was turning on you, Holly Quisha. Holly Quisha.
I listen to more, rap and hip-hop music than most people on here.
All you need is some braids, get you some lashes, Holly. Come on now. Go ahead.
Dude, I'll be banging. I got the ass. I already got the ass.
Oh, man. That's hilarious.
What's up, everyone?
It just silenced the.
That's right.
So you guys out there, who wrote Intellect?
I did.
All right, because whoever wrote that's full of crap.
Is Scarlett in the hallway now? Are we supposed to go?
I'm looking. I told her to post
Oh, you haven't
the link. Yeah. She's
Can you,
setting things up.
Can you pin the link to the top? Once you
Yes. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pin the link to the top so we can all move over.
Sweet. Yeah, sometimes, man, it's hard to find rooms in the hallways.
I know. I don't even like to be in the hallway anymore.
No, right.
Yeah. I'm looking.
Are you just gonna put the link in the chat or whatever?
I'm going to stick it up top.
Oh.
In fact, let me just end our beautiful little "what do you look for in a woman" poll. Remove. Come on, Mom, send me a link.
Is that the Karens and Jezebel room? Is that what Scarlett's doing?
Yes, we're gonna do the Karen,
Oh boy.
Jezebels, and Bethany's.
Dr. Mitch, what's your go-to karaoke song?
That's a great question. Anything by Tony Bennett, bro?
Oh, that's
good. That's fun. Classic.
Tony Bennett, nice.
Yeah, it's cool. He's got sophistication over here.
Yes.
Unlike Holly. Holly's a hood rat. Dr. Mitch has sophistication.
Holly Quisha over there just got ghetto shit up.
Dude, I actually found the lyric. There you go. When I walk, I'm living by the street law. When I talk, I'm living by the street law.
I'm going to grab the link. I'll be right back.
Law. When I bang, I'm living by the street law. Fuck the judge, I'm living by the street law. The G hate, I'm living by the street law.
See, that's
City, I'm living by the street law.
girl with brains.
Laws and rules are meant to be broken. That's why I get high and keep smoking. Because I'm living by the street law. Holding my nuts. I'm living by the street law. Don't give a fuck.
Gang, let's go, Holly. Gang, let's
I love the lyrics. I love that song. That song's hysterical.
go, Holly. Gang.
Good times. Good times.
Somebody get Holly Quisha contract. Let's go.
Okay,
Let's go. She going double platinum.
room's at the top, y'all.
Alright, cool.
Here we go.
Listen up, Monica, with the sweet little welcoming music.
All right, so I don't want to take credit for this great room, but Serendipity reached out and said, well, what kind of rooms can we do? Because she has a big heart and she likes the relationship rooms, and if they're done well. And so I said, yeah, well, relationship rooms are rarely done well on Clubhouse. And so we came up with the one for the guys that we're doing tomorrow, the father effect, the father room, talking about men and lifting up the good dads. And you don't have to be a great dad to be a good dad. And they were like, well, we should do one on women too. And so we can, and we can discuss the toxic femininity, and we can discuss the positive femininity, because women are human, contrary to popular belief, and we have a range. There's a spectrum of us, and we can be Jezebels, we can be Karens, we can be Bethanies, we can be, and sometimes are all of them above at the same time. And then, of course, there's some of us that traffic in dysfunction. And I don't know, Serendipity, why don't I give you the mic and we'll see where we are. And MG should be coming to be mod too.
Yes. I think we've actually got a few other moms coming. I'm sending the link, trying to get them in here right now.
Hey, Scarlett. Oh, she's busy. Hey, it's Dr. Mitt.
And she.
So I know what a Karen and a Jezebel is. A Karen is kind of an entitled person, right? Maybe narcissist. Jezebel, more like a borderline. But what's a Bethany?
I'm glad you asked that question, sir. And we will be elucidating that when I play this very short, because I found a YouTube short that explains it. Once we have our people assembled. But So I don't personally mind being called a Karen because I think there's a utility for Karen kind in our society. The women and men, because I've seen men Karens, and that's pejorative when they do it. But if there's an injustice, if there's a coupon that the store should take and it's not expired, I will speak to the manager because they had a contract with me. I made effort to come to the store. You should honor your advertising, and for the good of humankind. It's a little hyperbolic, but you get the point. So there's a point where Karens do good. If Karen sees smoke coming out of a house, Karens are more likely to call the police and alert the fire department. That's not a bad thing. But some people have said mind your business and don't report things that are causing problems or have the potential to cause problems and cause harm. But of course, like I said, Karen powers can be abused and are. And we'll see viral videos of Karens gone wild, acting badly, and with unfortunate consequences for them and for the people. So that's Karen. Jezebels, those are the women who use their feminine wiles and their sensuality and their sexuality to manipulate people. So they are the women who want to be paid to go out on dates with you, and then you thank them for the pleasure of their company. They can be very manipulative, and they use their charms for their good, their benefit. So they treat men as wallets, just like some men treat women as objects, you know? I don't know what the male version of a Jezebel is, a man whore. I don't really think those are equatable. I think maybe the opposite of a Jezebel for a man would be maybe a womanizer, because they're not invested in individuals. They're out for what they can get. It's transactional.
Gay men have Jezebels in their circles, in their networks.
Oh, God.
Okay. And then I'm going to say Bethany for the video. So Serendipity's going to give me a cue. I don't see MG. Did we wait too long to host the room?
She was here a minute ago.
No,
Yeah, she popped in.
I just got a message from her. I think she's on her way. Hang on.
Does anybody have any questions about the two? And these are not the only three archetypes. There's the mother, there's the mother, and then of course there's the Oedipal mother, who will wound their children so that they can maintain control over them, stunting the men, and Snow White's mom, the girls. So, like, we're not exhaustive in our archetype list when we're doing these three, but I thought these three would be a good start, and maybe we do a part 2 or part 3 if interest allows.
Now, is one of them a Munchausen mom?
Oh, that would be the Oedipal mother, I would think, huh,
Yes,
Dr. Mitch?
That's why I asked.
We've seen that. We've seen that. We've seen that when little Tommy, their 3-year-old, well, actually, I have a name, James Younger. When James Younger was a toddler, 2.5, 3 years old, his favorite movie was Frozen. So his mom said, oh, well, James wants to be a girl. I'll enroll him in school as a girl, and I will call him Luna. To the horror and refusal of her husband, she then took the twin boys, James, I don't remember the other one, to California because it's a trans sanctuary state. And the husband, the ex-husband now, I think his name is Fred Younger, but I could be mistaken, Frank Younger, had to pay for gender-affirming care and therapy for his son, and was allowed no private visitation with his blood, with his progeny. It's a terrible story.
So would she be a Bethany, a Jezebel, or a Karen? The mom in that situation.
That would actually be in the part 2. That would be a Oedipal mother, I think, a devouring mother, because some women like attention and admiration at the detriment of their children. Look at me, how bold and beautiful and brave I am that I'm allowing my son or my daughter to go through gender care because I want to honor their feelings. It's quite nauseating. When Deborah So, the sex therapist and researcher, says 97% of the time, I believe, hey MG, after the children is left alone and they go through puberty and young adulthood, they either become homosexual or they get rid of the gender dysphoria completely. That's staggering. For me, yeah, I did promise that. I'll get it right on it. Do I have to do that for everyone or just that one?
No, just one.
Because I just blocked. Okay, thanks.
By the way, Serendipity, can you hear me?
I can.
It's been a rough day on Clubhouse, y'all. So where are we at with the conversation?
Monica just gave a brief overview explanation of the Karens and the Jezebels. She was saving the Bethanies to review after listening to, she found just a little YouTube short that she's going to play.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we'll open up the conversation. I know we're waiting on a few more people.
Do we want to play it now, or do you want to talk about the first 2 that we discussed, the Jezebels and the?
You can go. I think you're good to go ahead and play the clip.
All right.
Every person has different speeds that they operate at, right? You catch them on one day, they might react to a certain way, another day a certain way. But some people do have like defaults, right? So one thing that's happened in the last like 4 years especially is that anytime a white woman's talking, we jump to Karen pretty quick, right? Like there's Karens out there, but then sometimes someone will just have a menu and be like, does this one have gluten? And we're like, Karen! Like that's, it's appropriate when it's appropriate, it's not appropriate when it's not appropriate, right? But for everything there is its opposite, okay? And I think that for us, we do need to start talking about the complete opposite, because we all know this person. We all know the white woman who doesn't want to make a big deal out of anything. We've all met this person. She could literally be on fire. She's like, y'all, I'm just warm. Like, no. You're in danger, Bethany. Let us help you. Yeah, I mean, like she could call you. She could call you in the middle of a robbery. She's at the bodega. It's getting robbed right now, and she calling you, being like, "Oh no, I don't want to bother. Just if you get around to dialing those 3 numbers, it would be really helpful." Every person.
That's it. Short and sweet, huh? Isn't he charming? Like when I tell you, I want to share every skit he does, even the ones that mock Trump and Elon, even the ones that threw shots at Jillian Michaels. Like I don't even care because it's funny. So if it's funny, I can laugh at myself, and we should be able to. And it's healthy. It's healthy. So yeah, that's Josh Johnson. The link of that short is in the Jumbotron. I'm gonna change I'm gonna remove it in a couple minutes. So grab it while you can, because I think we want to do poll serendipity in here, or do we want to advertise?
We do want to do a poll right now.
Okay.
love comedians who like are able to like read their room and do jokes that aren't crossing the line too hard, you know, to where it's like you know, to where it could really hurt somebody. I like comedians like that who just, you know, skate on the fence with them.
Sorry, I'm inviting just a couple more people.
Well, I need to know, did I oversell Bethany? Because I actually consider myself more Bethany than Karen.
I would say Bethany sounds like the perfect wife. Shit.
I was thinking my wife was Bethany, so
On?
Yeah, same here.
Wait, so whether she's on fire or not on fire, like.
The fact that she doesn't make things about herself, if she's literally on fire, she says, "No, it's just a little warm here." You know, she's not trying to make it about her. She's trying to minimize any type of adverse thing she's going through and not be a nuisance or an
She creates peace in the environment. Like she's kind of the center point of the piece.
At the expense of her mental health. It's not healthy.
sometimes. But if you're just kind and quiet and peaceful
Alright,
by
so
nature.
MG does not like Bethany. Good to know.
MG, it depends if it comes naturally to them or not. If it doesn't, then that would be brutal for them.
No, MG's right though. It says it's
That wasn't on my list. I did not think that I would.
I just think we all should, you know, advocate for, you know, yourself and speak up and not get walked over. Like, that's not healthy. You should have boundaries. I mean, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say I'm not comfortable.
Well, I mean, I think a Bethany can stand up and go crazy if you fuck with her kids or something that's deeply important to her.
I didn't get that impression.
Yeah, my Bethany would for sure. My Bethany would freak the fuck out if the kids were at risk. Or, yeah, to protect the kids or her family. But if we only have two choices, right? At this point, then the Karen is basically an extrovert, the Bethany is an introvert for the most part. If you're just gonna break it down simple as
High pockets.
Oh, that's a good breakdown.
Oh no, this is John
Sort of.
Pockets.
I don't know.
This is my
I do
Mojo
tend to
account.
have Bethany characteristics sometimes though, and I wouldn't consider myself an introvert. I would be that one that calls.
High pockets.
Hey, John Kitover for
breakdowns.
That's right. You know the message.
Right?
It's been a long
Are
time.
you gonna be
I've
deep in the
been,
muffs tonight, Pockets?
Exercising my Friday night clubhouse time. I've been too exhausted. How are you guys?
What's going on?
Oh, it's Thursday.
Long time no see.
I've been too tired.
You want my Cash App?
Upstate.
What's up, bro? Hey, is your wife a Bethany, a Karen, or a
Jezebel.
what's the other one?
There it
Oh
is.
yeah, Jezebel.
It's in the
Oh,
chat.
Yeah. She's not a judge.
In the chat.
She's very good like that. She, you know what I realized, and I can only say this here, but it's so true. I began about almost a year ago tracking some things, and what I tracked was there would be these times where we would be doing fine, everything was going fine, sex regularly, everything was going good, and then I'll say we'll be like joking about something, like literal joking. She's laughing, I'm laughing, and I'll say, you know, you're crazy sometimes, and then she will blow up, lose her.
Is he in the Matrix, or is that me?
You gotta tell
Yeah,
me.
he's in the Matrix.
Okay.
Alright, you gotta cast those demons out. Out of your home.
His wife's probably strangling him right now.
Yeah, right.
Fucking Bethany, motherfucker.
I'm done.
That is a trigger. Where do you think you mostly align, Holly? If you had to pick one of these three.
Alright, yeah, I've been reading about this while you guys are talking. I think if I had to pick between these three, have to be Jezebel.
What?
Really?
Because it's saying, I mean, I'm going by what Chatty's telling me. It's saying Jezebel, people see turn your relationships or attachments into leverage. Control through seduction, manipulation, or influence versus Karen is control through authority, rules, or complaining. I don't know, it's tough. I definitely complain a lot. But I also feel like I have a very...
Don't worry.
Yeah, like I uses charm, sexuality, or I don't think I do so much on the sexuality thing, but I'm definitely use like charm and charisma to get what I want. Like highly persuasive, can be jealous, competitive, or undermining towards other women. 100%, 100% I can.
It's not.
So I think Jezebel's me. Jezebel's me. Yeah.
Jezebel is me. Interesting. I don't identify with none of it. Karen, Jezebel, Bethany. None of it speaks to me.
Well, go ask ChatGPT, because that's how I came to my conclusion. I had to go a little bit deeper with what Chatty was telling me.
Monica is definitely a Karen.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, Monica's definitely.
I know.
Sure.
Karen from 34B.
What is Edie? I don't know.
Let's see.
I'd say Edie's a Bethany. Sorry.
A Bethany? You think?
I think she's an undercover Karen.
No, I think she's an undercover Karen too.
An undercover, I don't know what all the ones mean, but I assume Karen. What is Bethany and Jezebel and...
Bethany is the one. I'm on fire, but I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just going to be like, oh, it's a little warm, but it's alright.
And what's Jezebel?
The Jezebel is, using your feminine wiles to get what you want.
And Karen, like, complains about stuff that doesn't matter?
Well, the Karens they're a little authoritative, and yeah, they're kind of the squeaky wheel.
I think we need more Karens, to be honest with you.
So it says here, the shadow side of a Karen is entitlement, hypocrisy, and self-righteousness. And the shadow side of a Jezebel is manipulation, deceit, and Shut up, dude. What the fuck? Shut the fuck. Deceit and exploitation. See that? Okay, I'm torn. Because I might be more of a Karen. I don't know. I'm a Jezebel. Because I'm not deceitful. I don't like that. I think I'm definitely, I can be entitled, I can be hypocritical, and I can definitely be self-righteous. So, but don't you think, Karen?
I don't know, Holly. Don't you think, though, that, like, for me, the charisma can kind of be like, you play up the charm with somebody that you don't necessarily care about being charming with?
Dude, you gotta kick this. Yeah, he's distracted.
I know. I'm looking to move him down.
I can't, like, focus on what you said.
Mom, why can't I move him down? Let me go check her room settings. Hand raising. Here we go. Alright.
Oh shit, ChatGPT saying, want me to make you a self-assessment quiz style checklist? Hell yeah, I do. Yes, let's do it.
Did you ask it about Karen's, Bethany's, and Jezebel's?
I did, yeah, I've been all over it, yeah.
Oh boy.
I bet you were Bethany until you started listening to Pastor Troy Holly.
I know, right? Yeah, he turned me into a Jezebel. Straight up. I'm gonna like Instagram message that dude. Be like, you ruined me.
That sounds like an inside joke. You guys want to share?
Oh, he's because I was rapping one of my favorite like hood songs from back in the day. Street Law by Pastor Troy. That's what he's talking about.
Yes, those were the shenanigans that were going on when you originally tried to create the room.
Yeah, you missed it. You missed it, Scarlett. Holly was dropping.
Doug Holly.
Holly Quisha.
Love it. I love it.
So that goes well. The dark side of a Bethany would be what MG said, of the willingness to self-harm for the benefit of the self-sacrifice goes too far, and they're not willing to stand up and tell people. So there's a quote, something, if you don't tell people about your pain, they'll kill you and tell you you enjoyed it. That's significant.
This is pretty rare, wouldn't you say?
The Jezebels? I mean, the Bethanies?
No, yeah. I mean,
Bethanies?
yeah, even women that are quiet kind of know what they like and what they don't like, don't you think?
No.
No, I think there are some, like I said, I can definitely, I know a few Bethanies in my real life, for sure. They're not gonna complain, they're not gonna make their feelings known. The problem with the Bethanies are that they stuff so much down, though, all of the time, that they're usually the ones that are really, really volatile, and the seemingly, like, nothing burger is what makes them just absolutely lose their top. And then they regurgitate it all comes out.
That sounds like Asian women a little bit. I mean, not to be stereotypical, but they tend to stuff and explode.
Yeah.
It depends what kind of videos you're watching.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Holy cow! Stuff and explode.
Oh boy. Did you guys hear my story about tracking my wife, or did I completely cut out?
You completely cut out.
Good. Well, okay, so we were having these, like, I've known this woman for 20 years, since she was 16 and I was, like, probably 18 maybe. And so, all these years, but particularly recently, we got the kids now, we got the house, blah, 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 the same shit that happens with everybody. And, you know, I would notice we would be doing really well. Regular sex, scheduling sex, by the way, is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It's Wednesdays and Saturdays, and when we're doing poorly, it's just Wednesdays. But anyway, we would be doing great. We would have, you know, we'd be talking, calling each other during the day if I had to. That has nothing to do with her. I just don't want to talk to anybody while I'm working. But anyways, we're going really well. And then we would be hanging out, making a joke, and I would say something like, "Oh my goodness, you're crazy." Like if she did something, but in a joking way, and something like that would just blow up. What do you mean I'm crazy? Why do you have to do this? And then storm off and this and that, and then not speak for 3 days. And this is like a pattern. And so when it happened about a year ago, I just happened to like go up to the bathroom, and in the waste bin, I saw something. So I began to, whenever this would happen, I would take pictures with a timestamp on them because I was looking to see if there was some kind of pattern. And oh my goodness, 1 year later, within a 4-day period, I can track when these blow-ups are going to happen and when the insanity is going to occur, which is interesting, right? But what does Ricky do? Fucking stupid Ricky. He goes, and during the last argument, he goes and tells her about it, and then breaks out the pictures and begins to show her like some sort of idiotic cop from a movie. And that's when the real blow up occurred. What? You're wasting your time? It was really bad. Really bad. We're over it now, but now I don't know even what got into me to do that. So that's my story.
you were proud Sherlock. You cracked the case.
100%, Monica. I was proud. I thought that this was going to do it. This was going to show her that she is irrational, and she is doing this, and it's not me, and I'm treating her just fine and everything else. You hit it on the head, Monica. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. There's a poll at the top of the room. What archetype do you see most on the app? I have an interesting perspective on this. I think ladies are at narrowing down these archetypes on other ladies than men are. What say you?
Ladies are better at what?
Since we voted the same, serendipity,
Right.
I laughed so hard.
I know. I think that ladies are better at recognizing Karens, Jezebels, and Bethanies than men are.
Oh, yeah.
Historically.
100%.
Yeah.
You're not blinded by your dick.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
We'll give every effort to give the benefit of the doubt as long as that thing's in control.
Right? So the options on the poll, for those of you that can't actually see the poll, if you haven't updated or whatever, is which archetype do you see most on the app? There's Karen, Jezebel, and Bethany. And right now we're at 58% Karen, 43% Jezebel, and no Bethanies.
I definitely see the Karens, the cunning, calculated, the insincere. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can see it better than men, but I definitely see Karens the most on this app, for sure.
Do you see? I see a lot of women that I don't think guys realize how manipulative women can be. And I see a lot of women, they kind of play into a man's natural proclivity to be a little bit protective, and they use those feminine wiles to, oh, I'm just a sweet little innocent victim.
It starts at the PTR.
Because I talk softly and sweet, and I come across very unassuming.
Yes.
This is completely calculated.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I see it too.
I find women to be extremely manipulative. They love to use, I had a bad relationship, I had X, Y, or Z going on, and they use it to kind of garner like an empathy from the guys. So Jezebel's definitely my vote.
But I think that we're missing is because guys don't care. They just care is this woman paying attention to me or not. He doesn't care what she's doing. Exactly.
Right.
So sad.
It starts at the PTR. Like, honestly,
That's true.
pull to refresh. Now tell me people are gonna pay attention to me because of what I say. Like, really? When they do boobs and butt shots, that they're like, pay attention. And then also listen. Are they manipulative? Do they use people? I'm sorry, I interrupted serendipity too.
It was the Cracker Barrel logo that got us.
I don't know, guys. What do you think? I'm particularly interested to hear from the guys on this one.
Yeah,
I think we're simple creatures.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, you got a lot of those Karens in Bethany's clothing, man. There are a lot of guys off. But like Ricky said, it's because we're thinking with our dicks most of the time. It's, ugly chicks, I don't think get away with that. Get away with that.
Not as much. But even ugly chicks still garner at least a 20% higher empathy level from men than another man would, even ugly chicks.
Yeah, they literally fuck them because they feel bad for them. It's really sad.
It's a kid, okay? Don't fucking ruin it.
It's charity, man.
Riddle me this: how do you, fall for like a fake PTR. Like, how do these
Sorry,
person
guys.
even have
Yeah.
their real picture? It's a woman.
Guys, if you had a penis MG, you'd understand.
You'd understand.
I had someone call my AI picture beautiful like my cartoon. I was like, bro, I'm so disconnected. Like,
Is that pockets I hear?
That is Pockets, the one and only.
That's-
what's up, Dr. Responsible? I haven't heard your chaos number.
Oh, how dare it.
I missed it, man.
Dear. Yeah, I wish I had time. We had so much good chaos in the past.
We were Bethany's, bro. We were full on Bethany's.
No.
War would be on fire. The rooms would be chaos. We'd just be sitting there, bro. Like, yeah, we did this shit. This is a win. We were Bethany's.
Well, some of Dr. Responsible's chaos
And to me, what a Bethany is.
was fun for him and less fun for me.
It was very fun for me.
Can someone explain to me what is a Bethany?
Yes, Adrian, a Bethany would be the self-deprecating, woman who, I'm on fire, but I'm not going to really complain about it. I'm just going to say, maybe it's a little warm in here. Or I think the example Monica used earlier was, somebody's breaking into your house in the middle of the night, and you pick up the phone and you call your friend and you're like, well, never mind. I don't really want to bother you. I'll just talk to you later. I'll deal with it. That's your Bethany.
Is there enough people here that are interested in the Josh Johnson skit? Because it's not very long.
Yeah, play the game, Mark.
Serendipity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a Bethany, dude. That sucks.
I don't think I've ever met a woman like that in my life.
Every person has different speeds that they operate at, right? You catch them on one day, they might react to a certain way, another day a certain way. But some people do have like defaults, right? So one thing that's happened in the last like 4 years especially is that anytime a white woman's talking, we jump to Karen pretty quick, right? Like, there's Karens out there, but then sometimes someone will just have a menu and be like, does this one have gluten? And we're like, Karen, like that's... It's appropriate when it's appropriate, it's not appropriate when it's not appropriate, right? But for everything there is its opposite, okay? And I think that for us, we do need to start talking about the complete opposite, because we all know this person. We all know the white woman who doesn't want to make a big deal out of anything. We've all met this person. She could literally be on fire. And she's like, y'all, I'm just warm. Like, no. You're in danger, Bethany. Let us help you. Yeah, I mean, like she could call you. She could call you in the middle of a robbery. She's at the bodega. It's getting robbed right now, and she calling you, being like, "Oh no, I don't want to bother her. Just if you get around to dialing those like 3 numbers, it would be really helpful." Every person.
That is from a larger skit called "The Body in the Backyard," and it's such a good bit. He is so skilled. But that's Bethany.
I think us Bethany's, my bad.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think us Bethany's are just so fucking desensitized to all the shit that's happening that we're just now just like numb. I could see, a plane crash down the road and I'd be like, fuck. Oh, gotta go to work. It's just shit like that where I'm just like, damn, dude. I feel like it's just desensitized. We just have, what are we gonna do type of.
So, Adrian, given that explanation, which archetypes do you tend to see more on Clubhouse? The Karens, the Jezebels, or the Bethanies?
The Karen Bells. That's what I was going to say. The Karen Bells.
The Karen Bells.
Yeah. That's what I think. It's just a mixture of both. Not so much the Bethany.
One thing that we haven't unpacked is how we as women can be victims of the Karens, Jezebels, and Bethanies. Like they play on men's top, but they play, on us too.
Mm-hmm.
widespread.
Now, if you asked me what that question that you asked, Adrian. Yeah, if you asked me the same question that you asked Adrian, what do you see most on this app? I wouldn't have answered. I would have answered your question with another question. Which side? The dark side or the light side or the regular side?
Oh man, here we go. Open that can of worms.
I didn't know if we were just going to do gender, if we were going to do race, but I got some stuff to say, you know? This could get long, so you guys talk, but, at some point, I have some unloading to do.
I know.
Why don't you share about
spending his time.
right? Why don't you share about 2 or 3 minutes of your adventures on the dark side, and then we'll bring it back, and then we'll do another dive in a little while. And
Nice. Like, what do they call that when comedians do that in Vegas? They do, where they come back and they stay there and they do a little bit more. Anyway.
we'll circle back.
Yeah, we'll circle back. So, everybody knows my exploits on this app. And I like talking to black people. I'm going to admit it right now. I like talking to black people and progressives and liberals, and then coming back to see you guys, normal people, mostly normal. So I spend a lot of time over there. Even sometimes I'm just listening. And then, it gets far enough where I have to jump off and come on stage. But my situation, but my wife, who has always been completely opposed to even discussing this issue. She works in New York City. She's had some interesting experiences, but she's been totally opposed to talking about it. She does not believe anything I do. She does not think anything I do. And I'll make it clear, I don't think that there's any kind of mental or physical difference between groups of people. They're just people. But she went on a flight with Spirit Air with my kids without me for the first time in their lives. And she is 92% made of black women. And she called me crying finally after a 4-hour flight, getting the plane stopped, this and that. And she goes, "Oh my God, Ricky, they're all right. These women are out of their minds. They're a different group of people. They were so nasty the entire time. They treated us like shit. They yelled at our kids every single time." It was a bad situation too, because everybody was missing their flights and everything else. And so she's going to tell me when I pick her up tomorrow exactly what happened, and I'll let you guys know. But this is not black people. This is, unfortunately, black women are quite a problem. And that's why I want to take away their rights to vote. Thank you, I'm complete.
What is happening?
I want to take away your rights to vote too, not as a person.
We're scratching that.
Yeah. That was.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that was just a diatribe. I don't know though. Shout out to Spirit Airlines though, Holly. I'm sorry.
No, dude. Spirit is absolutely anti-white. I've been saying that for years.
Really?
Yes, I've been saying that for years. It's a great place to experience racism as a white person.
Oh, they treated me like gold, bro. Yeah, I love Spirit. I use it every time. I'm definitely blonde hair, blue eyed. I'm like a prodigy for that.
This is a female M&M. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you said that, Holly. I never flew on
I've done
Spirit
that so
before.
many times. I've
never had one crash.
She said, "I can't believe the experience of racism. I've never felt anything like that before." And she's not overboard. Go ahead.
Has Spirit Airlines ever had a fatal crash? Like American?
Well, they don't let them fly the planes. They just let them open the cans of ginger ale.
Oh my God.
But seriously, I can't. Holly, I'm going to find out all about it from her.
Yeah, I'm looking it right up.
We could discuss the reasons for hours. It doesn't mean they're bad people, but culturally, there's some problems there.
Well, airlines in general, the flight attendants and the check-in people, they haven't been happy. It's like a known thing in the airline. There's been a lot of mergers and and so the employee satisfaction has really gone down the tube. So I think that's kind of being projected a bit onto the guests.
The article that I'm Holly are articles of black people being kicked off the flight.
You're searching right now. You should look.
I see articles of 7 African Americans were kicked off of Spirit Airlines because of some dude that was talking some shit. So they talked some shit back, and those people got kicked.
I mean, that's not a surprise, but did you find any?
No, I'm looking.
Wait, what are you looking for? Articles about white people getting kicked off?
Yeah, I looked for a Spirit Airlines anti-white, and it showed me an article of black people getting kicked off the airline.
Yeah, you're not gonna find anything because you gotta look in Reddit and you gotta look on like the Instagram, whatever that new thing is, because that stuff is not gonna be articles. Nobody cares about white people getting kicked off the plane. That doesn't sell. Like nobody's gonna click on that. So.
You might be able to go to like page 11 of Google.
Yeah, that's a lot. People do click on stuff like that.
Well, it's not gonna pull up in the Google search, really.
Y'all remember that white guy that was on the plane that had the Burger King crown on and was screaming?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because that works with the narrative.
Absolutely was clicking on that shit.
I give points to Reddit, though, because Reddit almost crashed the stock market in GameStop. So I give props to the Reddit community. They got some power. There's some stuff on Reddit that, yeah, you definitely will see on Google or ChatGPT. So I'll give some props to Reddit.
You can't find it anywhere. Reddit is amazing.
Oh, speaking of Reddit, there's a lot of Jezebels that's on this app that is on Reddit, busting it wide open. I ain't gonna say that.
How do you know that?
Because I saw them.
So given your experience on one side, Ricky, what's your experience on the other side?
On my side, I have had nothing but, normal to good experience with black men in my life, like, not in the homosexual way, but you know what I'm saying. Except, like, in the beginning, there was some, because I grew up in a almost all-black neighborhood, that was a little tough for the first year or two. But once we had the fights and we played sports together and bloodied each other up, it became really good friends. So I've had very good experience, and with black men and black women, I've also had some very good experiences.
I meant the women.
Well, I think I've had very good experiences with black women, but there's this thing that happens where there's sort of a like, I'm gonna be good daddy type of thing that goes on, and I'm sure they wouldn't admit it, but the men in the room can tell you, a white guy with a black girl is a different dynamic than it would be a black guy with a black girl, unless he's really got it going on, because they just kind of, I don't know, my experience has been they've been prim and proper and not want to do anything wrong, and they've been very, very good to me.
This is how I know you bullshit, bro, because just a few minutes ago you said we all the same. We just all be, we are not different. No minds, no nothing.
I just wanted to take over your vote. I know you guys have minds. I love your minds. It's a voting thing, that's all. It's nothing to do with you. And if you were as intelligent as a man, you would be able to put that shit down deep down in your soul and forget about it and think what's good for the country, which is women not voting.
You got many personalities.
This is just a prime example of how men are just terrible at examining the intentions of a woman.
Have you ever seen the movie Split, Serendipity? You ever seen that movie Split?
Yeah, it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, that's you, bro. That's men.
Why? Why are you saying that? You think that too, Zig?
No, I'm just laughing because Pockets is funny as shit, man.
Totally not. Totally not.
You think I'm like that, but my 90% of my personality is the same as we always are together. But 10% of my personality wants to take away the 19th Amendment. That doesn't mean I'm split. It just means I have like one thing that I want to do that maybe you don't like.
Maybe it's just your train of thought. You know, I feel like you like go from like A to Q sometimes, and I just miss a bunch of shit. But you know, I feel like you say things, and then you go out the light, and then someone else grabs the light, and they say something completely opposite of what you said earlier. Yeah, and then you're like, what did I say? I didn't say that.
You're supposed to be in the light. You got the
Yeah, you're like fucking Hedwig, dude.
That is a great
like
movie.
Like fucking with Drake, bro.
If you haven't seen the movie Split, it is one of the best acting performances I've ever seen, and it's a fantastic movie.
But it's a trilogy, though. You gotta see Unbreakable, and then Split, and then Glass, which is it's hard.
Ooh, I didn't see Glass.
Yeah, Unbreakable is, you know, the entire train wreck, and with Split, his father was the one who died on that train wreck. James McAvoy, that's his name. His father died on that train wreck in Unbreakable. He was one of the victims. They're all connected, bro. With what's his name, bro? The one in the wheelchair.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Samuel L. Jackson. Mr. Glass. So thank you so much. He orchestrated all of it. He wanted to make the superhero. That's what Glass. You gotta see Glass. They all meet up. All of them. All three of them. Bruce Willis. You know, James McAvoy, I think his name is him.
I will. I'll watch it tonight while my family isn't here yet.
But when it comes to like Karens, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Buckets.
I was gonna say, when it comes to like Karens, aren't there like different spectrums of Karens? Like, I feel like there's Karens who really call that manager and get shit done. And there's Karens that are just like, you're walking your dog, you're a threat to my life. I feel like there's like all a different spectrum with the Karen call.
Do you? What about on Clubhouse? Do you see a lot of Karens on Clubhouse?
I see pick-me's on Clubhouse. I see pick-me Karens on Clubhouse. Where they're like saying shit to be like, I'm for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not.
I see a lot of those too.
I used to be that, bro.
Is that baby Monica in here? Hey, baby Monica.
Yeah, blame me. It was all my
What's up with all these little babies? I saw a baby marketing campaign. Baby Monica. I saw a news article about these babies today.
I had that mindset, and I don't know, it made me even more ignorant to the truth of what's really going on.
Would you say that I fixed you as a doctor?
Absolutely not. No, you were one of my worst experiences on Clubhouse.
Truth is painful.
No, you and those extreme conservatives, man, fuck me up, dude. Like, you guys just ignore all history, bro. All the time. Like, you guys just say, that didn't happen. We the best. Like, it's freedom over here. Yeah, like, y'all just some, are I think all radical political sides are delusional. Every single one is like an extremist of each side. And you weren't.
I'm not one of them.
You are one of them.
I don't believe that history didn't happen. I talk about it all the time. It happened. It affects people. There's post-traumatic slave syndrome, possibly, and it affects people. You got to delineate between your radicals. Okay?
Right.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think you guys have to be careful because, I've seen some guys behave in some pretty radically egregious ways towards each other. But the most devious people that I have seen on this app, the most dangerous people that I have seen on the app have been the females.
100%.
And they get away with it because they're female, because they're unassuming and sweet and soft-spoken, and they have a pretty PTR. And, I've seen a female go to the extreme of creating a burner account in another guy's name to make fake back channel messages to implicate him in some egregious behavior that was completely untrue.
Inappropriate sexual advances. Inappropriate.
For sure, dude. I believe it 100%.
The one she's talking about, like, those ones she's talking about be doing shit like constantly disrespecting men, interrupting men, and all of this and that, to the point where it will cause him to call her bitch.
Ooh, Pocket sent us
Right?
$25.
And then you see another one that's just like her come off the mic. Dang, don't call her a bitch. Wait, hold the fuck up. Where the fuck was you at when she was disrespecting me? You didn't say a fucking word. But now you want to say a fucking word when I come off the mic and defend myself? Yeah, fuck you and her.
But you know what, Adrian?
You and her.
Wake that shit up, Adrian. Wake it up.
But you know what, Adrian? The thing of it is, there are those for sure. But the ones that are particularly dangerous are the ones that are never going to get in your face about that. They're going to have more of that pick-me attitude. They're going to be the ones that are rah and cheerleading for you to your face. And behind your back, they're going to be doing the most devious shit. Like, that's what I'm talking about. The ones I'm talking about, they're not going to get in your face. They're not going to be aggressive and assertive with you. They're going to be the unassuming ones. The ones who are always, cheering you on. Fight the good fight. And it's the very unassuming ones. Those are the people that have been the most dangerous, I feel like, on this app.
It reminds me of high school girl, like when those, because I was bullied, bro, like so bad in high school. And that's why on this app, I'm just like, I'm done with fighting people. But girls are nasty, dude. Like, these girls would come to my house, try to, mess with my brother. One girl set my closet on fire, right? And blamed it on me. And we had, like, women are just so nasty, and investigators don't find anything, bro. These women are finding shit, and it's scary what women are capable of, especially when it comes to disrespecting men and thinking that it's okay to do it just because you're a girl. Like, I will never call a man a bitch, a hoe. I'll never try to hit a man. I feel like those things are becoming so popular, and it's just becoming sick. Like, women are literally getting killed because they're trying to be, this. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's crazy, but.
When I said earlier, I see a mixture of Karen Bells. What I meant by that is those women that whore themselves out for all the attention and shit, for any amount of attention on this app, and then complain about the attention that they get. The Karen Bells. You done got your ass out here in these clubhouse streets, and you hoard yourself out for attention. Now, you got some attention, it's just not the attention that you want, now you're complaining about it. Yeah, get the fuck out here. Karen Bells.
I understood the mashup, and I don't disagree with it. When I opened the room, I can't remember if it was the first time or the second time, I talked about how transitory, like even Josh Johnson said, circumstances might be such that we show our asses, that we exhibit Karen behavior when we're typically a Bethany, or Jezebel behavior when we're typically a Karen. Like, it's like a spectrum, right? So I totally can see there's a video that I'm not going to play, but it's called The Power of Victimhood. Or Victimhood is All About Power by the Atlas Society. It's a speech from the foundation that likes Ayn Rand, the libertarian. And it's very good. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Hey, Nye.
Happy Friday, ladies.
Happy Friday.
Sorry I'm late to the... You are.
It's okay. We just been discussing the Karens, the Jezebels, and the Bethanies.
Of Clubhouse, no less. So what inspired this topic? So many thoughts. I don't know. It's just a topic that Sarah, Dick, and I were talking about because, just the drama that we've seen in the hallways. And we just felt like we need to kind of unpack it.
Yeah.
So how does one protect oneself from a Karen, a Jezebel, or a Bethany?
I think the Jezebels are the most dangerous. I don't know. I think it comes down to chipping away at the surface level stuff and listening. If you listen to what they say, oftentimes they will reveal themselves.
So
hello, my name is George Dienhardt. Welcome to Politics on the Prairie. We have a great guest today, congressional candidate John Kitover. How are you doing today, John?
George, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Congressional candidate John Kitover. How are you doing today, John?
George, I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing real good too. I see you got the whole campaign, the headquarters going there.
I do. I've got a lot of phones set up. I've got a lot of YouTubes going, Instagrams, X accounts, Clubhouse. I try to do a lot of mass communication for the campaign at home.
I saw that. That's how you got on my radar. Was all social media. You're probably way better connected in that aspect than your opponent, the hood. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I live in Chicago, 42 years old, and I'm a graduate of the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a military college. I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army National Guard, served from 2002 to 2006. And then I've worked in digital marketing, media buying,
It shows.
advertising technology for about the past 20 years, 15 years, and I've worked in the government at the Treasury Department and the Department of Commerce, working in real estate operations, leasing, project management. And I launched this campaign to run for Congress a couple months ago. We've raised about $600, mostly through social audio, through an app called Clubhouse, which is similar to X Spaces. It's basically a Zoom conference call, essentially. It's all audio. And I'm trying to defeat Darren LaHood, who I view as being a negative Republican who's created $20 trillion in debt in 10 years. So I'm fighting. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm saying I'm fighting for the people of the district in 16th district in Illinois, for the whole state of Illinois, and for MAGA and Republicans all around the United States who believe that our government is borrowing and spending way too much money, and we have to cut the spending.
That's a pretty big order because he's going to have the Illinois GOP behind him. He'll have some federal law stuff behind him. He's going to have money to spend. Right now, you're at about $600. What's your strategy to counteract that?
It's by having conversations with you in open, frank, transparent manners. It's grassroots, and unfortunately, the algorithm doesn't favor me. It literally create as much content as you can, connect with as many people as you can, and really getting on the ground in Rockford and Peoria. The number one goal of this campaign right now is to get 1,000 signatures on our petitions.
Sure.
So I'm pretty confident over the next 3 weeks on Fridays and Saturdays in Rockford and in Peoria, we'll be able to get the number of signatures to get on the ballot in March.
Don't forget to hit the metro stations in your district. Those are great places to harvest the voters from. Let's go back to LaHood real quick. You call him a rhino, which has become almost cliche at this point. Everyone's a rhino is running against someone else. When we look at him, though, his voting record isn't. You guys see eye to eye on some stuff. What is it you're not seeing eye to eye on with him that caused you to run here?
Really, it was his COVID-19 response. If you do a cross comparison between open secrets and all the HR acts that he has voted on, it's not a 10% or an 80% correlation. It is a 100% correlation between all open secrets donors and all HR acts. So there's a 100% correlation between HR acts and lobbyists who are essentially paying him to vote for all these funding measures. And it started with the HEROES Act and the CARES Act.
The amazing thing about Grok on X is you can use it to go through all the HR acts and identify by the largest acts and whether LaHood voted on it, and then who the Fortune 500 corporations are that receive the most amount of money through those acts. And there's a 100% correlation in open secrets with all his donors. He has over $12 million or over $10 million in his campaign account. And so in my opinion, he's running a skimming operation. And this is what a lot of Congress people are doing. They have 10 to 20 to 30 million in their checking account, all given by lobbyists. So that is primarily the reason why I want to wake people up in the 16th district. Say, hey, he has created $20 trillion in debt plus $5 trillion a year over 10 years. He's responsible for spending $70 trillion. What have the people in Illinois District 16 really gotten from LaHood for all those trillions of dollars? He likes to say it's all about jobs at Caterpillar, etc. So, in my opinion, he's wasting the money. We have to stop borrowing and spending, and that's why I'm running against Darren LaHood in the 16th district.
And in deference to your campaign too, some of those jobs he talks about didn't really appear. You look at what happened with Stellantis; they only got one up with a fraction of those jobs coming back. So it might be good to have someone holding his feet to the fire.
It goes to show you that it is very difficult to create a successful business. I've launched many different businesses, and you can borrow from the taxpayers and create these businesses that go out of business, like Fisker and the electric buses that Pritzker gave us. So it's super hard to create a business, and when a government creates a business by borrowing and taxing, that's not the bedrock or the cornerstone for building a good business. They're set up to fail, and it puts all the debt on future taxpayers. So it's
that's not
an unfair bargain.
No. What did you do in the Army? You're in the Army National Guard. Eh? What did you do there? I know you're an officer, so it's a little different. I'm not looking for.
Sure. So I can tell you, I went to the Citadel, which is a prestigious military school in Charleston, South Carolina. And while I was there, 9/11 happened. So I joined the Army National Guard in what they call the simultaneous membership program. So I started out as a PFC, then a specialist, then a sergeant in the infantry. And so I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, practiced warfighting for 4 months in the forests of Georgia, graduated college, got commissioned in intelligence, and I worked in translations, interrogations.
Oh.
The Army is Army work. That's digging trenches, fighting, and being in cities. I didn't deploy to Afghanistan or Iraq. I was all around the United States. And then I started working in digital communications. I think from a forensic accounting standpoint, let alone just AI and the queries that I have put into Grok, if you go to my X account, it's John Kitover, Illinois, that's IL, and I will retweet some of my best Grok queries trying to untangle congressional borrowing and spending, borrowing from the Federal Reserve, really looking at our ledger books, our balance statements, and saying, you know what, guys like Darren LaHood are kicking the can down the road over and over. 10 years now. So this is my background, but I'm really trying to stop the borrowing and the spending. I think it has to become a mantra with Republicans. I'm standing with Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, Ron Paul. I supported the Ron Paul campaign from California. I have a good picture with him. And I just believe that we are digging a hole. We have to stop digging this hole of debt and borrowing and spending from the Federal Reserve. We have to cut Medicare, Medicaid. We have to cut the NDAA. And I think we can preserve Social Security, but cutting the military-industrial complex and big pharma are the number 2 priorities of my campaign. So that means Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, AstraZeneca, the hundreds of billions of dollars in tax credits that they got from the big, beautiful bill, $500 billion a year from taxpayers in tax credits. That is the primary focus of my campaign.
You segued exactly where I wanted to go. I was just going to ask you about the big, beautiful bill. That was a huge expansion of spending. So I think you pretty much told us where you stand on that. You weren't exactly pro-big, beautiful bill then.
We can kill the 2 biggest problems in our society, which is the military-industrial complex and big pharma. We have to cut the Medicare and Medicaid by probably $1 billion to $2 billion a year, and the National Defense Authorization Act by about $200 to $400 billion a year. We'll be able to start paying down the debt. We can lower taxes, and we can stop funding big pharma, which is poisoning us, and the military-industrial complex, which is taxing us and doing military policing around the world. And Darren LaHood has kicked the can and funded this for 10 years. He's been a congressman in the 16th district, I think the connecting district before redistricting. But he is a can kicker. I'm going to crush his can, and I'm going to recycle it for the American people and for the people in the state of Illinois.
Let's talk about vaccinations. I'm not real clear on where you're on vaccinations as far as if it's just a COVID vaccine or if you're what you stand on other vaccines.
Let me just start with COVID-19 and that vaccine response. The HEROES Act in March of 2020 was the first $1 trillion tranche or omnibus bill that Darren LaHood voted for. And that is the start of it. That's when Pfizer was able to print up 30 billion cocktails. A lot of these vaccines were manufactured in India because it was a patent and it was mass produced around the world.
Yeah.
That's not variable medicine. That's giving one solution to everybody for a problem that Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates and the World Health Organization cooked up in Wuhan, China. So to just immediately go to the 72 vaccine schedule that young people have to take, we're living in a vaccine industrial complex. It's not a vaccine diet. This is not acute targeted medicine. This isn't variable. This morning on X, we read through MAHA and the February 18-page PDF that was put out by Secretary Kennedy and the NIH. And I think right now, Big Pharma and Kennedy are still colliding, and the gold standard in scientific research has yet to really been proven. I think we're still very much living in a big pharma, big medical industrial complex, which demands the money. And so again, cutting Medicare and Medicaid will choke big pharma, and I think it'll improve our health outcomes. I'm not a fan of all these vaccinations. It's out of control. But why does a 3-year-old need 72 injections? Can you explain that, George? It's insane what we're living with.
I am a nurse, so I can't explain it. These are all diseases we're trying to keep that 3-year-old from having. My grandkids are getting vaccinated now. My children got vaccinated. We get no health problems from those vaccines. I can see why people were upset about on the COVID vaccine because it was, again, I said I was a nurse. One thing we were taught is always the patient's choice whether they take a medicine or they don't. They had COVID jammed down their throat, so I get the anger there. But I never really quite, and yeah, I go back as a conservative a long way. I'm almost 60 now. I never ran for Congress. I was a city councilman, though, in Georgia. So I've been involved in Republican politics for a long time. I don't think anyone would say anything other than a conservative. But the things like eliminating smallpox have gone a long way. We couldn't do that without those vaccines. The chicken pox, people live through that. My grandkids are getting, I believe my kids are getting the chicken pox one. I don't think it's hurting anyone. It's keeping them from scarring and later, and protecting them from shingles a little bit later. But
I would just say that I've seen documentation from the George Bush administration that suggests that Operation Warp Speed was long in the making. I think this is the pandemic, scamdemic, plandemic. I don't trust it. The lockdowns, the baby diaper masks. Yeah. People are very angry still. And when you bring up COVID-19 vaccines and the lockdown, Darren LaHood told his constituents via X, if you don't take this injection, this pandemic will never end. You have to get vaccinated. Otherwise, you'll never be able to go back to work. That's the type of messaging he put out on his X account. You can search it. Just go to Darren LaHood's X account, type in vaccine, and see what he told everybody. He was doing propaganda messaging, pushing out big pharma talking points. That's not leadership. That's doing what your lobbyists, multi-million-dollar contributors tell you to do. And he's telling everybody on his X account, his Facebook account with 27,000 followers. In my opinion, he's pushing propaganda, and he voted for it. And he took out he took out trillions of loans on your behalf to fund this. We're $37 trillion in debt, and we have $100 trillion in unfunded debt liabilities. That's a total of $137 trillion. So everybody in this country owes over $100,000 right now to the federal government and the balance sheet. And Darren LaHood doesn't talk about it. All he talks about is how the big, beautiful bill is so beautiful. It's not beautiful. It's taxation by loading it on the back end. So in my opinion, he is not leading the people in his district, and he's a failure as a congressional representative in the 16th district. And in Illinois, he's just a can kicker. And I just want to reiterate, everyone has to chant the mantra, stop borrowing, stop spending.
That is good to hear Kayla say, because we go back into what some people call the bipartisan combine. Everyone's just taxing and spending. There really has not been a responsible financial party for a very long time. And it's good to hear people coming up through the ranks and running for office saying, yeah, we got to stop this, because it's not sustainable. You're absolutely right on that. I'm curious too. You went right for a congressional seat. Generally, people coming up through the ranks will say, "Oh, you're going to start a city council. You'll start at the county board. You'll start at the township level." You went right for Congress. Mostly, it seems to be because of the job LaHood's doing. Did you have any thought about starting lower and working up, or was this just you're passionate about ending LaHood's reign in Congress?
Let me just say, this is not the second time I've run for politics. I ran for committee person here in the 45th Ward in Chicago, and that is what created this rocket that is trying to defeat Darren LaHood, because that experience of dealing with all kinds of low-down, dirty, grimy local politicians and the lawyers and let me just describe to you what happened. So I ran for committee person. I spent about 45 days at the Jefferson Park Blue Line stop. I hired people off of Craigslist. We gathered about 800 signatures. Every single signature was challenged by the Chicago GOP. We were about 60 signatures short. But I filed an appeal. I had to go downtown, go through the election courts, had about 2 trials. The challenger, Estella Richards, the 45th Ward committee woman, never showed up. She couldn't provide any testimony, wouldn't provide any testimony in terms of questioning. So in my opinion, my constitutional rights were denied me, and this deals with ballot access.
Right.
I have no doubt that this time going around, we will get the total number of signatures to actually be on the ballot. It's less than 700.
Right.
And let me tell you, when you file for Congress, it only takes you 15 minutes to file. So my question is, where are the patriots and the Republicans in Peoria and Rockford that want to stand up to all this borrowing and spending? Where are the libertarians even that are not stepping up to the plate? A lot of people aren't getting anything for their vote, but they're still going to vote for Darren LaHood.
Yeah.
This is why I decided to run for Congress, because the issue is that important, that this is not just whether or not I win or get on the ballot. This is about creating communication to as many people as possible to recite the mantra. Stop borrowing, stop spending. Every single year, we're borrowing $2 trillion and only taking in $5 trillion. So this is why I'm running and why we have to defeat Darren LaHood in Illinois 16.
This is the old Illinois GOP mantra. It's not your turn yet, right? This is why no one's running, because they go up through their county GOP, and they're told it's not your turn. Or in your case, I'm sure you've been told, start smaller. Start at the township level. Start this. Of course, the Chicago GOP is so completely dysfunctional. Maybe they didn't tell you that. But this is the same thing I hear over and over again as I talk to candidates. They're being told, it's not your turn.
Listen, it's everybody's turn. There should be 100 people lining up when there's no filing fee and it takes you 15 minutes. And now there's another Republican candidate running, and I think there's 4 Democrats running against Darren LaHood. So people are waking up and standing up. Darren LaHood really flies under the radar, but he has a very powerful position in Congress. So in my opinion, the more people standing up to Darren LaHood, either we force him to start obeying our Constitution and give us a fair and balanced budget, or he's just going to keep plunging us into debt and creating future tax liabilities for your children. The guy is, in my opinion, dishonest, and I think we have to crush his can that he keeps kicking.
Let's switch up for a little bit. Let's talk about the district you're running for. Your district runs, you're in Chicago, it's in Peoria, it's in Rockford. Let's talk gerrymandering. Where's our solution here? Right now, the Republicans, we're roughly half the state's electorate. We only have 3 congressional seats, one the ones you're running for. Was there hope here? What's the answer here? As long as you're that outnumbered, how do we fix this?
Let me tell you, before working at the Treasury Department doing facilities management, I worked at the Census Bureau downtown Chicago. So I was opening and closing census offices, and it's a lot of work to open a census office and gather that data. And that is the only agency in our Constitution. All these other agencies are not there. The census is the only one that should technically be funded. Most of these other agencies, I think we could eliminate a large percentage of them. These are the top towns in the 16th district, and these are the towns that are voting for Darren LaHood. It's Rockford, which has 148,000 people. Peoria has 113,000. Bloomington, 78,000. Normal, 52,000. Pekin, 31,000. Belvedere, 25,000. Loves Park, 23,000. I could go on and on. There's a lot of cities. The way to really deal with this gerrymandering and all this insane districting, when you see the map, it looks like this crazy jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
So From my experiences working at the census and hearing and listening and working with higher ups, there's a lot of corruption when it comes to this districting and the Census Bureau itself. So I think the Trump administration has put forth a bill saying that illegal aliens will no longer be allowed in the districting maps. So there's a lot of ways to clear it up. And the number way to clear up all these problems is transparency.
Right.
And actually having access to the data that the Commerce Department puts out and what the legislature is using here in the state of Illinois. But running for Congress, I'm looking at bigger issues than just districting here. I'm looking at the national debt, which could sink this ship that we are all on. Illinois is in a fiscal crisis. Chicago's in a fiscal crisis.
Yeah.
Illinois has $200 billion in debt and $60 billion in unfunded pension liabilities. My father is a retired Chicago police officer. And in my opinion, Chicago and Illinois are being run like Clown Town. This is clown world we're living in. People aren't transparent. All they want to do is racial identity politics, and we're not being fiscally conservative. This is my biggest gripe that Elon Musk helped expose, which is through Doge. If you look at all the screenshots on the Doge X account, it's all for DEI and climate change education. Hundreds of billions of dollars in education grants. Northwestern isn't getting, I think, $500 million? All of these huge institutions that have huge endowments, why is the federal government funding all of this? We're $37 trillion in debt. So again, I want to reiterate the mantra: stop borrowing, stop spending.
They're funding it because the Democrats are in charge. This is how you make more Democrats, right? You turn the schools into your propaganda mills. And not saying Northwestern isn't an excellent school, you wouldn't get an excellent education there, but it's also turned out a lot of excellent socialists and communists over the last 20 years, and that's why that's happening.
They're winning, George. They're winning, and they're in control of our money. Illinois is a Democrat industrial complex. I have a book over here from the Democratic Party in the 1950s. They don't look like that today. They are so unprofessional and so Marxist and so radical. The stuff that comes out of Chicago politics is absolutely deranged. The mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, he said just the other day that white structural racism and supremacy is the blame for the 600 deaths during the heat wave in 1997. You know, what does that have to do with the debt and the deficits? The Chicago Public Schools has, $170 or $715 million deficit? There's 100. So the point is, they're not talking. I want accountants and forensic accountants and people, financially minded people running the government, not the insane political spam that they spew every single day. Darren LaHood does it the same way, but in a different way. He takes photos with veterans, takes photos with the police. You know, his dad, Ray LaHood, is an Obama transportation secretary. Right. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and in my opinion, Obama is the worst president this country has ever had. There's other things about Ray LaHood that people shouldn't forget. That he had $50,000 in cash that some Nigerian scammer gave him that the FBI investigated, and the FBI took Darren LaHood's laptop. So this is a very politically connected family, a very powerful family, and I need this video to hopefully go viral so people can donate to this campaign to defeat Darren LaHood, because he's going to keep kicking the can and create $2 trillion a year every single term he gets. So if you want to stop the borrowing and spending with me, go to johnforcongress.com. You can text the campaign directly at 312-498-0517. And on johnforcongress.com, click on the blog section. You can see our antidote link to make a donation. I'll update the site after this interview, because hopefully I'll push it out and we'll get a lot of views and raise more money, because I live in Chicago in the Northwest side. I'm going to drive up to Rockford. I'm going to drive to Peoria. I'm going to drive to Bloomington and Normal, Illinois, and I hope to meet people in the streets or at the bars or at the train stops who have watched this video and want to sign on the petition to defeat Darren LaHood.
This is your district is frankly crazy too. The way they drew that up, and again, it's another way to. It's all about suppressing Republican vote. So you wonder why people aren't lining up to run for it. Who wants to drive from Chicago to Rockford, Peoria every weekend? Which is where you're at, right? You've got to reach out. You got to knock on doors. You got to talk to people, and they put you in a position where it's almost impossible to cover the ground you need to cover to actually win this thing.
It's not that many signatures, so I'm not stressed out about it. To become a committee person in the Chicago GOP, it's the same number of signatures as it is to become a congressperson.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous too.
It's insane. And I think there's a lot of Republicans, and this is the interesting thing. If you go to Darren LaHood's X account and you look at the comments section, it's nothing but hate for Darren LaHood. And I know a lot of it is probably liberal Democrats replying, but there are a lot of Republicans that are sick of the borrowing and spending.
That's the frustrating part of our demographic, I think. Like I said, this is something that we talk about a lot, but don't act on it. When we do act on it, going back to the big, beautiful bill, there are good things or there are bad things. The debt we're taking on clearly is the bad thing. Let's talk about, or let's go back and talk about something we're talking about too, and that's the identity-based politics and everything, and the amount of hatred there is out there now. What do you think the answer is there? How do we bring not just Republicans back into the fold that may have left because of things like the deficit, but also bring Democrats around to thinking where they're a loyal opposition again, as opposed to just crazy race-baiting lunatics that they're out for blood and hate the president. You know, I mean, there's not a lot of logic to what we're doing. How do we fix this?
I hope you get a chuckle out of my response here. So I would just ask for a moment of silence and stillness and take the deepest breath of the day. Hold it for 10 seconds. It's wisdom and education. So I think I've spent a lot of time doing a lot of yoga, reading a lot of books, going to the gym. For me, preparing for this moment, it's the now. So I feel like my whole life, the destiny has led up to running against Darren LaHood in the 16th district. And to me, all the racial identity politics, there's a lot of ways to be political. I would say that the debt, the national debt, is a way to be political. Vaccines are a way to be political. Abortion is a way to be political. I can name 10 to 100 other ways that one can be political. And so, really, to me, it's wisdom education, reading scripture, reading sacred texts that point out eternal truths, universal truths amongst all of us. So when somebody does a racial identity political attack or brings it up in the discourse, I just consider it spam and political. If I was to pull out my Bible flashcards here and read you a bunch of sacred scripture, you could say that's being political, but I would also add that it's education in terms of wisdom. That is the only real true response I have to people who want to do racial identity politics.
All right, so you touched on your big issues are the immunizations and the budget. What else would your term in Congress focus on outside of those two issues?
I've meditated on this. If you were the leader of a tribe, what would you want for the people in your tribe? Or you're a congressperson or a president or the leader of a business. It's primarily, you do not see in Darren LaHood's X account, he never talks about his constituents' property taxes. He doesn't talk about their income taxes. He talks about, hey, I don't want you to be able to file for free with the IRS, so I'm going to get rid of that so H&R Block and Tax Pro can keep charging you another $200 to $300 a year to file. So this is the issue, is lowering Illinois and District 16 property taxes, lowering their income taxes, and lowering their public debt and their private debt. Those would be four issues that I would want to look out for if I was the leader of the 16th district as a congressperson in terms of legislation. Again, I want to lower your property taxes, lower your income taxes, lower your public debt, which is the national debt at $37 trillion, as well as the state of Illinois, and also lower your private debt. Now, if that means lowered interest rates, that means asking Chairman Powell politely to lower the rate from 4 to 7% down to 1%. Yeah. So it's all artificial. We're doing it to ourselves. We're stressing ourselves out. The system is stressed out, and therefore we're going to be more stressed out. But a lot of this is of our own making, and we are our own worst enemy. Again, Darren LaHood voted for the HEROES Act, the CARES Act. I could read them to you from my ex right now. I wanted to come more prepared with a lot more grok data. But if you go to John Kitover, Illinois, I will re-query and create more queries that I hope people who watch this video will go to John Kitover IL on X, follow me, and you can see a lot of these queries, which is really just forensic accounting and data analytics of the Treasury.gov app. So Thomas Massey has a lapel that says 37 trillion. That data from his Wi-Fi lapel comes from Treasury.gov, straight from the Treasury API. So if you go to usdebtclock.org, they use a different API, but nonetheless, you can get a better picture of the financial balance sheet of the United States of America. And so when Darren LaHood, through the Big Beautiful Bill Act, gives the Fortune 500 $500 billion a year in tax credits, that's all future tax liabilities for you. It's transferring it from the Fortune 500 to we the people. That's not why you're voting for Darren LaHood, is it? I hope it's not, because if you are, you're voting for your own demise.
Yeah.
We're giving ourselves away. The Declaration of Independence says they're eating out our substance. And in my opinion, Darren LaHood is eating out the substance of America and the people in the 16th district. And Illinois politics is so corrupt and the people are so sleazy. It's taking a grassroots effort of a guy in Jefferson Park in the northwest side of Chicago to say no more borrowing and spending.
You talked about cuts. There are two you mentioned that I was specifically interested in. Cuts to Medicare and Medicaid, but it's not going to go with the older people on Medicaid, the older voter. And you also talked about cuts on defense. You talked about $400 million in cuts in defense.
$400 billion.
$4 billion, yeah. Where do you see these cuts coming from? What are we cutting to come up with these numbers?
So Medicare, Medicaid, the average amount per citizen spent is about $15,000 to $18,000. That money is going to health insurance and to large hospital providers and to administrative expenses like doctor salaries, nurse salaries, etc. That's almost $20,000 a person. And if you have advanced diseases and you're on 30 prescriptions, now you're talking about $60,000 a year or $160,000 a year. The point is, we have to take these two snakes that are drowning this nation in debt, Big Pharma and health insurance and the military-industrial complex. We have to start choking these two snakes, otherwise the whole ship is going to sink into hyperinflation. By 2050, the United States government will be paying $4 trillion a year in interest on the national debt. And we're only taking in $5 trillion a year because of these two snakes. You can look at it like the rod of Caduceus. You're a nurse, you've seen that. These are the two snakes choking our livelihood in this country. Everybody is on the hook for this money, but we keep kicking the can down the road. So we have to stop borrowing and stop spending.
But where are these cuts coming from? So you want to cut defense, we're deployed all over the world. You're a veteran too. I'd hate to, my son's in the Marine Corps, I served in the Marine Corps. I'd hate to see cuts that are going to endanger the people out there protecting us. And like I said, as far as Medicare cuts going, you got an uphill battle on that one because half the people are going to vote for you aren't going to like that. So what are you cutting there?
I just want to reiterate, my economic philosophical position deals with transparency and shedding light on the problems. We have to set priorities. If we want to have a lethal fighting force that is capable of going anywhere in the world to destroy our enemy who may commit terror against us, we have to set priorities. And if that means decommissioning or not building the next generation of aircraft carriers or fighter jets, we have to remember priorities. And if that means Fortune 500 corps aren't, a lot of this is going to crush the stock market. I don't want to take the oil out of the engine. I want to essentially optimize the oil that we're using. We have to optimize our spend. This is like a game. This is essentially game theory. And unfortunately, we are at 40% of our economy is all based on borrowed money, borrowing and spending. That's not an authentic, transparent economy. So the sooner we actually get real and stop being children and say, hey, okay, in this country. Everybody is on the hook for this money, but we keep kicking the can down the road. So we have to stop borrowing and stop spending.
But where are these cuts coming from? So you want to cut defense, we're deployed all over the world. You're a veteran too. I'd hate to, my son's in the Marine Corps, I served in the Marine Corps. I'd hate to see cuts that are going to endanger the people out there protecting us. And like I said, as far as Medicare cuts going, you got an uphill battle on that one because half the people are going to vote for you aren't going to like that. So what are you cutting there?
I just want to reiterate, my economic philosophical position deals with transparency and shedding light on the problems. We have to set priorities. If we want to have a lethal fighting force that is capable of going anywhere in the world to destroy our enemy who may commit terror against us, we have to set priorities. And if that means decommissioning or not building the next generation of aircraft carriers or fighter jets, we have to remember priorities. And if that means Fortune 500 corps aren't, a lot of this is going to crush the stock market. I don't want to take the oil out of the engine. I want to essentially optimize the oil that we're using. We have to optimize our spend. This is like a game. This is essentially game theory. And unfortunately, we are at 40% of our economy is all based on borrowed money, borrowing and spending. That's not an authentic, transparent economy. So the sooner we actually get real and stop being children and say, hey, okay, a lot of this net profit is just because Congress is borrowing and spending through HR Acts and the Federal Reserve. Chairman Powell said, we don't ask Congress for monetary advice, and we don't give fiscal advice. Whatever Congress does is a given, and we put it in our models. What kind of leadership response is that from the head of the Federal Reserve? Let's set some priorities and say, you know what? We have to optimize and be effective in our deployment of spending. It's the way a business runs. When I was at the Treasury Department, I asked the senior leader, I said, are we allocating spending to locations where we know we're going to get a better ROI? Why are we building all these new offices if this area of the country has no good GDP? We need to go where, if you're going to tax, go where the money is. It doesn't matter. We just got to spend, and we got to spend. That's how they act. There's no optimization of our game theory as an economy. It's unpatriotic, and we're already 37 trillion in debt. Back in 2001, when 9/11 kicked off, we had $2 trillion in debt. That's manageable. 37 trillion is a crisis. And Chairman Powell says it's totally unsustainable. And in fact, he did a Freudian slip, and he said it's unsustainable at the moment. And we're approaching that level where if Congress doesn't wise up and people don't start following Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, a lot of other Republicans in the Liberty Caucus, and a lot of libertarians are still very vocal about this, but you will not see Darren LaHood come on your podcast or ever put out any messaging about the national debt. He does not want you thinking about it.
Let's close on the Social Security. Also unsustainable. So I call it pyramid scheme. Any efforts to privatize on anybody have always failed. How do we fix that? Because whatever we wind up doing, if you're in Congress, there's a chance this is going to start to collapse on you. So what are your thoughts on that?
So some people might not like this response because maybe it's not fiscally conservative enough, but Social Security is it's the second largest line item. I want to keep it 100% intact, but I want, as Doge did, eliminate all the fraud, waste, and abuse in it, especially international fraud. There's still probably a lot of international schemers and scammers ripping that system off. But again, if you look at the snake analogy of Medicare, Medicaid, the medical industrial complex, and the National Defense Authorization Act, and our military industrial complex, the middle pillar is really us. It is our Social Security. So let's actually just enhance the program. If we take away from big military and big pharma, we can increase payouts to Social Security recipients who, at this point, are 100% involved in a Ponzi scheme. We're $37 trillion in debt, and we're paying over $1 trillion a year in interest to service that debt. Essentially, we have a $37 trillion mortgage that costs us $1 trillion a year, and every year we keep adding $2 trillion to the $37 trillion.
Right.
So again, we have to start making cuts, and we have to start paying down the debt. But I say preserve Social Security, because that Ponzi scheme, you paid into it. Plus, you got to pay income taxes on the money you already paid in. Right. So you're double tax, triple tax. You're taxed from every degree of reality. And that is not the way America was set up to be. We need to maximize liberty, maximize our freedom, and be fiscally conservative. We've gone through a 25-year war and then a big pandemic scamdemic. After periods of warfare, you practice austerity. So this isn't a debt derangement syndrome rant. This is an American austerity syndrome that people need to start getting infected with, because if you're not part of the problem, you are literally plunging your children into forever debt. There's not going to be some debt jubilee. There's not going to be some meeting of the minds. This is a comprehensive financial system that doesn't forgive debt at the national levels. We owe this to China, Japan, the UK. We owe it to the Federal Reserve. So until people start repeating my mantra, stop borrowing, stop spending, and vote for John Kitover in the 16th district, Do not let Darren LaHood kick this can down the road any further. Hold him accountable. Demand a town hall and let him know your feelings about the COVID-19 mass vaccination, about the national debt. Let him know how you really feel about how he's representing you, and if he actually has your best interest at heart, or he has him and his own family's best interest at heart. He's got over $10 million in his campaign checking account from Blue Cross Blue Shield, from Caterpillar, from Moderna, Pfizer, J&J, Comcast, Verizon, AT&T. Everybody has given to Darren LaHood. And the last thing I want to say is LaHood gave us the Broadband Act, which is a $65 billion giveaway to Comcast, AT&T, Verizon. I want to hear one person in the 16th district that has ever gotten high-speed internet that they didn't already have it before, and that Darren LaHood didn't just give you a pile of debt and taxes on the back end.
I would say you're going to be hard for us to find that person. I think we were pretty okay on broadband in this area, at least by the time that happened. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was John Kitover, congressional candidate. I had a great time talking to him today. We'll have you back as you pass the primary. Good luck on your petitions. And what do you want to say on the way out? What's your elevator pitch to our watchers?
If you live in Rockford, if you live in Peoria, if you live in Bloomington, Normal, Pekin, Belvedere, Loves Park, Mackenzie Park, East Peoria, Morton, Washington, Dixon, Morris, Shanahan, Streeter, Pontiac, Roscoe, Harvard, Rochelle, South Beloit, or Rockton, go to johnforcongress.com, that's with a 4, or text the campaign at 312-498-0517, that's 312-498-0517, or go to johnforcongress.com. I need your campaign contributions so I can get on the road, come to your town, shake your hand, get your signature on our petition, and we have to get 1,000 signatures within the next 2 weeks, and I hope that this video goes viral. I will push it out across all my platforms, and I'm also going to take our campaign contributions that we've raised, and I'm going to run this video as an advertisement in your town, in Rockford, in Peoria, through Google, YouTube. So if you want to donate, you want this message of liberty and fiscal conservatism and anti-mRNA spike proteins in you every single turn, that Bill Gates wants you to eat spike proteins, basically. So I'm trying to mix in a little comedy, but I hope people are resonating with the message that we have to stop borrowing and spending. It's what's causing all of these problems. And we're $37 trillion in debt. We have a $37 trillion mortgage with a $1 trillion annual interest payment. You didn't sign up for that when you voted for Darren LaHood, and he's going to keep giving it to you. So I need your help. I need your support. Go to johnforcongress.com. Thanks, George.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll cut it here. Send me all your social accounts. We'll put it in the show notes and everything so people can see it. And I'm going to try to have this out. Today's what, Tuesday? I'm going to try to have it out by Friday. All right?
Okay, God bless George. I really appreciate you, and I'm so happy that you're so well organized and helped me create this message. God bless you, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Welcome to Being in the Way with Alan Watts. I'm Mark Watts, your host, and today's talk is On Being God, which was recorded in 1971 in New York City at a conference on Western therapy and Eastern religions. Like last week's talk, Zen Bones, it's a big hall presentation given to hundreds of people who attended the conference. And in it, my father explores both Western therapy and Western religions in relationship to the mystical experiences or altered states that are the basis of Eastern religions. He points out that neither Western therapy nor Western religions are particularly equipped to deal with individuals who've had these experiences. And in the course of the talk, he invites everyone there to participate with him in a clinical experiment in which he positions himself as a patient who's had one of these experiences and believes himself to be God, and invites the audience to ask any questions they like. The results are lively, at times hilarious, and definitely enlightening as he pivots from idea to idea and question to question and delivers a remarkable performance. And now here's Alan Watts in On Being God.
Between Western psychology, psychiatry, and psychotherapy, and the so-called religions of Asia, there is common ground. because both are interested in changing states of human consciousness. Whereas institutional Western religion, Christianity, Judaism, and even Islam are relatively less interested in this matter. Western religions are more concerned with behavior, doctrine, and belief than with any transformation of the way in which we are aware of ourselves and of the world. But this matter concerns psychiatry and psychology very much. Only those states of consciousness which
in New York City at a conference on Western therapy and Eastern religions. Like last week's talk, Zen Bones, it's a big hall presentation given to hundreds of people who attended the conference. And in it, my father explores both Western therapy and Western religions in relationship to the mystical experiences or altered states that are the basis of Eastern religions. He points out that neither Western therapy nor Western religions are particularly equipped to deal with individuals who've had these experiences. And in the course of the talk, he invites everyone there to participate with him in a clinical experiment in which he positions himself as a patient who's had one of these experiences and believes himself to be God, and invites the audience to ask any questions they like. The results are lively, at times hilarious, and definitely enlightening, as he pivots from idea to idea and question to question and delivers a remarkable performance. And now here's Alan Watts in On Being God.
between Western psychology, psychiatry, and psychotherapy and the so-called religions of Asia, there is common ground because both are interested in changing states of human consciousness. Whereas institutional Western religion, Christianity, Judaism, and even Islam are relatively less interested in this matter. Western religions are more concerned with behavior, doctrine, and belief than with any transformation of the way in which we are aware of ourselves and of the world. But this matter concerns psychiatry and psychology very much. Only those states of consciousness which are not normal are usually treated in Western psychology as being in some way sick. There are, of course, exceptions to this, and there have increasingly been exceptions. In the work of Jung, and to some extent even of Grodek, of Prinzhorn, of more modern people, Rogers, and Ronald Lang, changing consciousness is often looked upon as a form of therapy. But in general, different states of consciousness from the normal are regarded as a form of sickness. And therefore, official and institutional psychiatry constitutes itself the guardian of sanity and of socially approved experience of reality. And very often it seems to me that reality appears rather much the way the world is seen on a bleak Monday morning. In this official doctrine, I might even say dogma, of what reality is. Because after all, we know that our science, such as it is of psychology, is founded in the scientific naturalism of the 19th century. And and the metaphysical and mythological assumptions of that science still underlie a great deal of psychological thinking, in behaviorism eminently, but also to a large extent in official psychoanalysis. Indeed, one might say that psychoanalysis is based on Newtonian mechanics and in fact could be called psychohydraulics. Not that that analogy is altogether inappropriate, because there are certainly respects in which our psychic life flows and exhibits the dynamics of water. But of course we want to know what kind of water, and for the scientific naturalism of the 19th century, the basic energies of nature were considered to be very much inferior to human consciousness in quality. Ernst Haeckel, a biologist of that time, would think of the energy of the universe as blind energy. And correspondingly, it seems to me that Freud thought of the libido as essentially blind, unconscious energy, embodying only a kind of formless, unstructured, and insatiable lust. This is a generalization. Some modification in that thinking is of course possible. But the tendency is to regard all that which lies below the surface of human consciousness as being less evolved, because you must remember that this was also the time of Darwin's theories of evolution, of seeing the human mind as a fortuitous development from much more primitive forms of life, coming forth by purely mechanical processes, by natural selection and by the survival of the fittest. And therefore, man was in general seen as a fluke of nature, an embodiment of reason, emotion, and values, for which the more basic processes of nature had no sympathy and about which they did not care. If, therefore, the human race is to flourish, we must take charge of evolution. It can no longer be left to spontaneous process, but must be directed by human ingenuity, despite the fact that although our brains are capable of dealing with a colossal number of variables at once, our conscious attention is not. Most people cannot consider more than 3 variables at the same time without using a pencil. And this shows that in many ways the scanning process of man's conscious attention is very inadequate for dealing with the infinitely many variables, the multidimensional processes of the natural universe. However, a serious attempt has been made, and scientific naturalism issued in a fantastic fight with nature. In this whole notion of the conquest and subordination of nature, which has, as a matter of fact, very ancient, non-scientific and biblical origins, with the idea of man as the head and chief and ruler of nature in the image of God. And the time has now dawned upon us all when our attempts to beat nature into submission are having alarming results, because we see that it's very dangerous to mess around with processes that we don't understand, that have enormous numbers of variables, and we begin to wonder whether we hadn't better let well enough alone. At the same time, although I said that Western psychology had more in common, or more common interest with Oriental religion than it does with Western religion, there is a sense in which psychiatry and psychotherapy are becoming the religion of the West. Psychoanalysis has much in common with the forms and procedures of institutional religion. There is, for example, apostolic succession. The passing down of mana, of qualified power to practice therapy from the father founder, Sigmund Freud, through his immediate apostles, to an enormous company of archbishops and bishops, among whom there are, of course, as there were with Christianity, heresiarchs, such as Jung and Grodek and Rank and Reich. And the heresiarchs are duly excommunicated and anathematized. There are rituals, as there are also rituals with religion. There is the sacrament of the couch. There is the spiritual discipline of free association. There is the mystic knowledge of the interpretation of dreams. And there are also the two great symbolic fetishes, the long one and the round one. Now, it's extraordinarily easy to make fun of all this. And we must not forget that we owe a tremendous debt to Freud, if for nothing else than pointing out that much of ourselves of which we are aware in terms of the conscious ego is not really ourselves. It is something superficial. However we define its nature, it is superficial. And the realities of human life are not under the gaze of its scanning process, at least not in the ordinary way. And that was a tremendous revelation. There's no question about that. But one sees troublesome signs when the doctrines and processes of psychiatry, psychoanalysis, and so forth become officialized. And I think Thomas Sass, in his books, The Myth of Mental Illness and The Manufacture of Madness, is pointing out something extremely important to us, which is that, in effect, the psychological official of today is the priest, and that he is beginning to exercise the same sort of controls over human life as were exercised by the church in the Middle Ages. So that a professor of psychiatry at Columbia or Harvard or Yale medical schools has today the same sort of intellectual respectability and authority as the professor of theology at the University of Toledo or Padua would have had in the year 1400. Now you must realize that the theologians of those days not simply believed in their cosmology and the theology, they almost knew it was true in the same way that our scientists know certain things to be true. Despite the fact that they change their opinions very often, while they hold them, they have in effect the force of dogma, as witness the anathematization of Velikovsky for his uncomfortable ideas. And therefore, there are heresies existing today which are persecuted in the same way as heresies were persecuted by the Holy Inquisition. And they are persecuted out of kindness, in exactly the same way that the Holy Inquisition persecuted heresy out of kindness and deep concern for human beings. That is unimaginable to us, but it was so. For after all, if you seriously believe that someone who did not hold the Catholic faith and who voluntarily rejected it would be tortured physically and spiritually forever and ever and ever in hell, you would resort to almost any means to preserve a fellow human being from such a fate, especially if the complaint or disease of heresy from which he suffered was infectious. You would first of all reason with him, and if he was not responsive to reason, you would resort to abuse and to forceful argument. And if he was not responsive to that, you would give him shock treatment and bang him about. If that didn't work, the thumbscrew and the rack and the Iron Maiden. And if that didn't work, as a last desperate resort, you would burn him at the stake in the pious hope that in the midst of those searing fires he would
they want to add?
Just everybody have a lovely Friday evening, and thanks Serendipity for hosting yet another wonderful conversation.
Absolutely, after party on the muff.
It's always going down in the muff.
It's always going down in the muff. All right, everybody have a good night. Bye.
Look at this, it's called going down in the muff.
Watch me find a loan through NerdWallet. The form is free and won't affect your credit.
Desperate resort, you would burn him at the stake in the pious hope that in the midst of those searing fires he would think better and make a last act of perfect contrition, and so be rescued from everlasting damnation. And you did all this in the spirit of this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you, in the spirit of a surgeon who is very, very sorry indeed that he has to make you undergo this extremely painful operation. But it is in your best interests, and there really is at least a 50-50 chance that you may survive. And so, therefore, in perfectly scientific medical spirit, people may be very arbitrarily and without due process deprived of their civil rights, incarcerated in prisons that are in many cases much worse than prisons for criminals, and generally left to rot, be neglected and ignored, and when bumptious, given shock treatment or put in solitary confinement. For what? Because they have unorthodox and heretical states of consciousness. A lot of these people are not dangerous until provoked into being dangerous by being ignored, by being treated as machines, and generally defined as non-human. And if you are defined as non-human, there's precious little you can do about it, because everything you say that sounds human will be taken as a kind of utterance of a mechanical man, as imitating humanness out of lunatic cunning. You will be suspicious. Everything you say will be listened to in a different way and with different ears. And you will have one hell of a time talking yourself out of it. Because there really are no rules as to what one must do when incarcerated for having unorthodox consciousness. There is no clear road to repentance. And this is found likewise in jails, where people are incarcerated on 1 to 10 year sentences, as in places like Vacaville, California, where when I visited such prisons, young men have come to me in perfect desperation, saying, I don't know what's happened to me, because I want to live like a decent citizen. I know I've done things that are wrong, but I simply don't know what is expected of me here. If I try to do what's expected, they say I'm compliant. And that seems to be some sort of a sickness. Thomas Sass drew attention to this when he quoted a discussion of the types of school children who may very well need therapy. There were overachieving children. There were underachieving children. There were children who exhibited erratic patterns. There were children who were sort of dully mediocre. In fact, every sort of child can be given a diagnostic name for his behavior which sounds sick. As Jung once suggested, life itself is a disease with a very poor prognosis. It lingers on for years and invariably ends with death. And I submit that in our present knowledge of the human mind, such power in the hands of psychiatrists is amazingly dangerous. For I would suggest that today we know about as much concerning the human mind as we knew about the galaxy in 1300. And that while there are indeed individuals who are certainly able to perform psychotherapy, it is the sheerest arrogance for anybody to say that he is officially qualified to do so. We do not know how it is done, just as we do not know, really, how musical, artistic, and literary genius is done. You cannot really teach it. You can put the tools for doing these things into people's hands, and you can show them how to use the tools. But whether they will use those tools with genius is quite unpredictable. And this is above all true of the art of psychotherapy. We don't know how it's done. We've got some vague ideas. There probably are some people who, by reason of their mental derangement, are probably not qualified to perform it, because they are maybe out just to make other people into messes. But to say that there are certain standards and certain examinations that can be passed and certificates that could be issued, which do indeed qualify people for this work, is, I think, pernicious nonsense. And is used, of course, out of economic self-interest when those who consider themselves official therapists run into competition. The same was done by religion. I was talking, imagine it, to a Buddhist priest in Thailand some years ago. I was looking at some books in a bookshop in the precincts of a Buddhist temple. And I was wandering over, and I noticed a book on a certain form of Buddhist meditation. And I murmured, Satipatthana, which is the name of a certain kind of Buddhist meditation. And a voice suddenly said to me, you practice Satipatthana? I looked up, and there was a skinny Buddhist monk in a yellow robe with rather red eyes looking at me. I said, not exactly Satipatthana. I use a different method. It's called Zen. Oh, Satipatthana, not Zen. I said, oh, well, it's something like it, isn't it? No. Well, it's rather like yoga, I said, isn't it? Not yoga. No. Satipatthana, different. Only right way. Well, look, I said to him, I have a lot of Roman Catholic friends who tell me that their way is the only right way. Who am I to believe? You know, I said, you're like someone who's got a ferry boat for crossing the river. I used the Buddhist simile. and another fellow down the stream has opened up ferry business. And you go to the government and say, he's not authorized to operate a ferry boat because he's competition to you. Let all operate ferry boats who will. And if you haven't got the sense to stay off one that sinks, it's your fault. And after all, I could say to him, you believe that everything that happens to you is your own karma. But why worry? But now, it's so interesting that since official psychiatry, and I underline that word official because I hope those of you in this audience who are therapists will regard yourselves as unofficial. Lisa, that'll give you an out. But nevertheless, official psychiatry has curious things in common with Western religion, as well as with Eastern. With Eastern, I said, only insofar as it has an interest in states of consciousness and inclines to regard other states of consciousness than the ordinary as sick. But it has one very important feature in common with Western religion. And to that, we have to go a little bit into Western religious history and ask ourselves what in Western religion, and especially in Christianity, and this goes also for Judaism, Islam, what is the great heresy? Curiously enough, the great heresy was first in the West committed by no less a person than Jesus Christ, who believed himself to be God. This, of course, will be unquestionably true if you think that the Gospel of St. John has historical value. It's a little vaguer in the Synoptic Gospels, but if you read the Gospel of St. John, there is absolutely no doubt about it, for he said, I and the Father are one. He who has seen me has seen the Father. Before Abraham was, I am. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the resurrection and the life. He said all that, according to this gospel. And that is something that in the Western world you are not supposed to say. And especially you are not supposed to believe it. And naturally it was very difficult for Jesus, because he was saying all this in the context of the Hebrew culture. And he tried to find language in the Hebrew scriptures with which to express his state of consciousness, because he had an unusual state of consciousness. As I read it, he had cosmic consciousness, otherwise known as mystical experience, otherwise known as moksha, nirvana, bodhi, satori, fana elvana, or what you will. And that happens to people. It has happened as far back as we know. It happens all over the world and in all cultures. We don't know very much about it. We don't really know ways in which to make it happen, because it seems to be of the nature of it that it is a spontaneous surprise. But it unquestionably happens. And most people keep their mouths shut about it when it does. I had a friend who, in the middle of having a stroke, had this illumination. And he said to me, I fear to speak to my friends of this, but it was the most beautiful experience. I shall never be afraid of death. In fact, I recommend everyone to have a stroke. This was my friend Jean Varda, lately deceased, Greek painter. But Jesus certainly had this transformation of consciousness. And he was crucified for it. Why? Because he had committed an act of insubordination and treason against the cosmic government. Because if you believe that God is a monarch, an absolute, omniscient, and omnipotent authority, shall we say a sort of cosmic ego, then to claim to be that is to introduce democracy into the kingdom of heaven, to usurp divine authority, and to speak in its name without proper authorization. And they asked Jesus, by what authority do you speak? Of heaven or of men? And he was tricky about answering that one. He said, by what authority did John the Baptist speak? And they were nervous about answering that one. He could have asked, by what authority did Isaiah speak, etc. Or Moses. But Moses became official authority. And if you could wangle it, that what you said was simply an extension of what Moses said, because Rabbi so-and-so said it, who got it from Rabbi so-and-so, who got it from Rabbi so-and-so, who got it from Moses, then it's okay. Notice this, that to be an authority today in the academic world depends on documentation. It's not enough to say, for I say unto you, you must put in your footnotes. And the more the footnotes, the more the authority, obviously. So, our dissertations tend to be books about books, about books about books. And our libraries multiply by mitosis. So, when somebody speaks as an authority, that means speaks as the author. That's all it means. It's a statement of which you are the author, and therefore for which you assume responsibility. That is to speak with authority. And to be original is likewise not to be freaky, but to speak from the origin. That is what Christians mean when they say to speak in the Spirit, to have your mouth possessed by the Holy Spirit, as they believe the mouth of Jesus was possessed by the Holy Spirit. So the gospel of Jesus, which of course was hushed up from its inception, was that wake up everybody and find out who you are. Asking that, again in the Gospel of St. John, they, pointing to his disciples, may be one, even as you, Father, and I are one. And when he was accused of blasphemy, the Jews took up stones to stone him, you know. And he said, many good works have I shown you from the Father, and from which of these do you stone me? And they said, for a good work we don't stone you, but for blasphemy, because you being a man make yourself God. Now listen to the reply. He said, is it not written in your law,
I would play my cards, and I will, as a man, I got to show my cards first, you know. I mean, it makes sense and it doesn't make sense for people, but hopefully it makes sense because I want to show my cards, and this is what I want. And let's talk, to be honest with you, girl. Sometimes, you know, guys, we're very insecure. I'll tell you that for sure, 1,000%. And that is me giving you the game. We men are very, very insecure. And I'll tell you how we're insecure.
I don't think all men are insecure.
I'll tell you how.
Okay. Well, hold on. Because the father topic is a room that's going to be going on tomorrow. So we're not going to, I don't want to have a lot of conversation about it tonight.
Very quick.
I have to push back on you. I don't think all men are insecure.
Oh, okay. So, I honestly, I'm sure, not all, because you can never say all, but the majority. And I'll tell you why. You know, I'm a man myself. I hang around with men, so I'll tell you where the insecurity comes from. Is even though they meet good girls, you know, and they go out. So what they do is,
Hold on a second, Hussein. Hold on a second. BB, I'd love to hear your thoughts on men and insecurity. I think all people go through insecure periods of time in their life for sure. But I don't know that I even agree with this assessment that most men are insecure. What do you think?
No. I don't think most men are. I think you just have to I wouldn't say most men are. I think actually I would say most men are. I believe that some men aren't. You just have to be true to yourself. You have to be able to love yourself, have lunch with yourself, and just not be. I don't know, man. For me, I'm not.
I'll tell you. This is my thinking. Like for me, I think it's innate for men to be protective, for them to be providers, for them to be leaders. And I think that you would probably struggle with some of those responsibilities if there wasn't at least some extensive level of security in yourself. Like, I don't know. I think that's innate in men.
I'll tell you how. But
I think no. You're saying you're going to spend 20 minutes trying to prove one point.
No, it's not 20 minutes. It's just 1 minute.
I've been in lots of rooms with you. It's very hard, but I think a lot of it is just being it's okay to be sensitive and emotional, and then other men or other people will think that man he's being insecure. It's not. You can be sensitive, emotional, be angry, be happy. You're allowed to have feelings, emotions.
It's not that.
It is, because some men are afraid. Okay, so some men are afraid to show their emotions. They hide them. That's a form of insecurity. By being secure, you should be secure in your emotions. If you're sad one day, you're happy one day,
I'll tell you emotional.
I'll tell you
how.
Fuck myself. You guys can let me know when you want me.
You know, it is. I'll tell you how. It's not me, but it's the people around me. There's a lot of people that come here now. Not you, but in this Western world, you know, and what is it? Very educated, smart people, you know, and just what do I have to do? So they have the smarts.
Hold on a second. Because I don't like when men sit up on stages and pontificate. Can you mute up for just a second? I'm getting feedback. I don't think it when men sit up on stage educate about the inner workings of women and how they understand what women think and how they act and who they are. So I certainly want to do that to you, which is why I want to invite the men that are on the stage. I think maybe if you sit and listen, I'd like to get some different perspectives and just see if other men are reading that the same way that you have. Project or Joe, do you guys have anything to contribute to the statement that most men are insecure?
Men are weak.
Bro, she just asked you to mute up and speak from other people.
And I did.
Yeah, well, I'd like to hear from maybe Project or Joe or anybody else in the audience that might want to come up and comment on the insecurity of men.
Please do.
Well, I'll say this, that let me just tell you before you start. Do you kill me? I'm dying here.
All right, let's let Joe go.
I'd say that from a perspective of people, we are insecure at different points in our lives and in different situations. When we have anxiety and frustration over a challenge or problem that we cannot think about how to solve it, that can be the onset of insecurity. It's not a singular thing. It's things that happen when we're faced with good and bad things. And insecurity can be a problem for us. I don't think it's a male or female thing. How it manifests itself between women and men, that can be different. But we all face insecurity. How we deal with it will differ.
Project, what about you?
Bro, Hussein, bro, you have to learn some social cues, man.
Project.
I do. I just wanna.
I'm still trying to interrupt again.
I'm saying I'll give you the floor after Project speaks. I would love to hear Project's perspective on this.
I can't. I want to ask Suzanne a question, right? So, if you had a choice, right? If you could order, and you had a choice, you say, would you want a big brain or a big cock? What would you prefer?
Man, fuck big cock.
Not big cocks. He said cuck. Okay, let's keep it clean, gentlemen.
What that?
I
Project.
said cock.
He said big cock.
Did you wait?
He said big cock. Fuck big cock. For real, fuck big cock. I don't give a fuck about big cock, man. You can have alright, I'm gonna mute myself.
Yo, you are tortured, bro.
Hey, say it. Tell me, what's your question?
No, that was the question
Was that your question?
Yeah. You answered it, thank you.
Man, alright then. So that was his question. Is you have a big cock or man, come on, fuck big cock. What is man, I'm good. I can have a normal cock, but I can have a good brain, you know.
What was your second question? What was your second question, Hussein? Go ahead and succinctly provide it to the room, and then we'll get some more feedback.
He was a smart ass, so he had a good question. So that's it. From me to you, Sandra, is
that's
Who's Sandra?
No.
I think this guy's hiring drunk every time he comes on the stage. There's something going on. They're saying, do you
my bad. I'm gonna mute down.
Do you want to hug, bro?
Yeah, it's not we, because I don't
I don't want no hug, man. I don't want it. Yeah, but no. I had a question, and yeah.
I think that all humans are born with insecurities, and it's part of life.
Yeah, of course.
As you do, and as you get, you learn to develop skills you learn to overcome certain security. Like you're building securities, which now limits your insecurities. So you start to become more secure with who you are. The problem is where people become comfortable with who they are, and they're afraid to go out and to better themselves, so they become comfortable, and then what that allows is huge insecurities into their life.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think insecurity is something that everybody struggles. I think that there are probably times where they struggle more than others. But like to define a man, I don't think insecurity would be even the list for me. Like,
I don't think they make men like they used to.
No, I don't.
I believe they don't, but I believe principle of men have changed now. You know, men used to be real men, you know, and caring about men care about respect men. You know, these days, you know, men are completely different. You know, they don't respect men anymore. You know, especially in.
Is this room brought to you by Pyro now? Because I'm getting headaches.
No. I'm gonna be honest. They were serendipity and they were having a conversation, and you kind of just jumped off mic and jumped in. Can we just let them have that dialogue for a minute?
So I think serendipity. I think it's not even the men today, and it's not even our fathers of yesterday. It's our grandparents that were secure men, and then they were so busy working that it created a new generation. And then the men today, like there's a big study. I don't know where it is, but I'm pretty sure you guys can find it. For like males from like 17 to 29 years old aren't having sex anymore.
Yeah,
There's a huge drop.
I've heard that study. There's also a huge drop in the testosterone in men today as opposed to even 2 decades ago, like 20%, which is pretty significant.
And a huge drop in birth rates.
Hello, my name is George Dienhardt. Welcome to Politics on the Prairie. We have a great guest today, congressional candidate John Kitover. How are you doing today, John?
George, I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing real good too. I see you got the whole campaign headquarters going there.
I do. I've got a lot of phones set up. I've got a lot of YouTubes going, Instagrams, X accounts, Clubhouse. I tried to do a lot of mass communication for the campaign at home.
I saw that. That's how you got on my radar. It was all social media. You're probably way better connected in that aspect than your opponent, Phil. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I live in Chicago, 42 years old, and I'm a graduate at Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a military college. I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army National Guard, served from 2002 to 2006, and then I've worked in digital marketing, media